3, 2. Oh my God.
What's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966.
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Airtime, y'all podcast.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome back to the show. We have an absolute up-and-coming ripper who has blown minds over the last couple years, filming 3 or 4 incredibly standout video parts, was invited to Natural Selection, and I'm a big fan of this individual both on and off the board. We have the ripper, Mikey Ciccarelli, on the show. Thanks for coming on. How you doing?
Thanks, Jody. I'm excited to be here. It's nice to finally see the zone in person. I've been enjoying all the podcasts. You've been killing it.
Thank you very much. What do you think? What would you change in the studio? How do you? What's the booth vibes?
I mean, I think you fill the whole walls with more posters.
Yeah,
Just get everything going. Personally,
I've had a couple people be like, "Dude, you need the posters in frame," but they're coming around.
Yeah, I want them over here. These are so sick. I don't know. I love it. I was saying before, I just feel like you walk in and it's like, this is snowboarding. Like you feel the culture just walking in here, which I like.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted it to kind of have a vibe, so if any boarder came into the booth, they'd be like, "Oh, this feels like home."
Yeah, you feel right where you're supposed to be.
But it's definitely like my era. If I look at the walls, it's like Nicholas Mueller, True Life, Trevor Andrew, Afterbang, Travis Rice, Shakedown. You know what I mean?
Maybe we need to get some newer.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But then there's a part of me that's like, that's my chapter.
So let's keep it that way.
So I don't know. Maybe we could start with Chile. You just got back recently. Maybe touch on who you went with, why'd you go there, how the trip was. I mean, how was Chile?
Yeah, that was one of those trips that super last minute. I think I booked our flights a week in advance, saw that the forecast was looking good. And usually I feel like you go on a snowboard trip, it can go either way. Like it can be awesome conditions, like you stack clips, or it's completely opposite where it just doesn't line up. And that trip completely lined up. I don't think we could have got it any better, which was really fun. Like leaving, we're all very satisfied. And we had Solars come on very last minute as well. We were literally in the gym. I was like, what do you think about going to Chile? And I think he had his trip booked to New Zealand. He changed his flight and came with me and Marcos and Ryan Miller, who's like a surf photographer, just loves shredding, and found out that I was going, came with. But it was fun, man. I don't know. I think since leaving Contest World and all that, I just have so much fun riding resorts, like not park. Like I didn't even like think about riding the park that whole trip, which was really fun. I just really wanted to go there, and if we see a feature, see a hit, let's go build it. Like no plan, and then it all kind of lined up. We're riding step-ons too, which was a first for me. I rode step-ons the whole trip.
Okay, let's
which was,
give me your honest opinion.
Honest opinion, they are getting there. Like I was blown away. Like I hadn't done a full trip on them, so I was a little skeptical of like how it would ride, but just in the sense of the way your foot rolls in a binding compared to the way it does in the step-on binding, like your foot doesn't roll, so you can't get the same tweak, I feel like. But I rode softer boots for this trip, and it made a huge difference. Like I didn't think, watching back my clips, like I felt like my style was off. So
did you hit that road gap with those boots on?
Yeah, I hit everything with the...
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like that road gap, the back 7 over that rock. I just wanted to see if I could like do everything that I would in the winter on them, and it worked out. So
do you think that the step and binding would be more for like an intermediate rider?
I think for like somebody that is like a weekend warrior, or somebody that just wants to shred a bunch, and just the convenience is crazy. Like Marcos, who our filmer was there, he wasn't on step-ons. Me, Ryan, and Solars were, and we were always waiting for him. Like he'd be like, "Oh, Marcos has got to buckle in." Yeah, I don't know. I still will run straps for sure, but I think it's cool to see it advancing, because I think it's gonna grow the sport and bring more people in, because it's just so easy.
Yeah,
people like it'll fully rival like skiing, because it's like it's the same system.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was my, that's my ramble on
step-ins.
Yeah.
Step-ons.
Step-ons. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The step-in phrase is gone.
Yeah. Step-on.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about
What do you feel about it? Because
I think that it's
like, obviously I'm pro Burton and like, but
of course.
Yeah. But
I mean,
what do you feel?
I just, when I see them, I just think that it's like, is this just a gimmick that I'm not gonna like need to use? I understand that you could put a lot of tech into it, but like you said about the tweaks, there's something in the way so the images and the videos that I really grew up and I really liked, the riders would have been able to do their tricks a certain way because of the boot binding snowboard ratio. So I think that the step-in might, like you said, it didn't change your style too much, but there's something about it that makes me wonder if like the way you would get into like a back blunt 270 or do a tie pan or whatever, or a stale fish would be different than the way I do it right now. So as of right now, I'm not going to try and fix something that's not broken because I like the boot board binding ratio. Like I like the combo. I like the way it fits. Sometimes do I wish I didn't have to strap in when you're like at the top of like a little line or something like that,
just like,
and your
boom,
binding
go.
is packed with snow because it's like later in the day and maybe some sun's coming on, so you have like a bunch it caked to your binding kind of and your boot.
Yeah.
That might be kind of nice, but do you feel like the bottom, like the base plate area is just packed with snow and it's hard to step in and out?
No, it's the same as a binding. You got to clear the snow. Like, you know, every time you get into a normal binding, you got to clear snow. But I do want to say, like, they're working on it more. Like, Solers is like, he's on that R&D team with like everybody there, and they're really trying to make them feel more like bindings, which I think's cool. Like, why not innovate, you know, when it's like,
Totally.
yeah, I think it's rad. But yeah, that Chile trip was definitely once in like one of those like 10 out of 10 trips. Like I left fully being like, wow, I'm so glad I just was like, hey, I'm gonna do this and let's try it, go somewhere new.
Let's talk about jumping over the rock. Trevor Andrews, switchback 3, back 1. What was the showing up to the rock? Were those? Did you know about those clips, or did Mark have to tell you about them?
No. So, Guy in the Sky was like a Burton promo video. I think it came out in 2005 or 2006. But that video I like watched so much as a kid, like over and over again. It was just like, I think the video that maybe the rep at the time had given me from like the Burton, Ontario guy, Lance there. And I just would like binge watch it. So I knew exactly that feature. And for us to get to hit it, and for me to hit it with like Mark Solers, someone that I've looked up to in my career, it was very, it felt really special. Like, it's just one of those moments where I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I was a kid watching this and now I get to do what I watched, you know?
Who else had a standout part in Guy in the Sky? Because I don't even know that video.
Guy in the Sky, Danny Davis had some really good pipe clips. They had like a Winter Park section that was really dope.
17 years ago.
Yeah.
Danny Davis is so sick.
It's so sick. Who else had a really sick part? Oh, they had like DCP's got insane clips in that video as well.
Do you have a switchback 5 in that video?
Yeah, with the mute poke. Heike Sorsa has back 7 melon. That's probably like, I think probably like the best back 7 melon. He like holds the grab right to the end. I don't know. I love that trick.
His frontside 7 tail grab in Chalk Smack, frontside 7 tail on like that poppy jump is one of the best front 7 tails ever done.
Yeah.
He's got a couple like just standout tricks every year throughout his whole career that were like exactly like he has
like
a cab 9
done just the perfect. That's what I love about snowboarding, when you can kind of put your own flavor on it.
Yeah, that's kind of the most important part. Speaking of flavor, okay, Chile went well. You went there, you tried step and bindings. I'm not sold on them, everybody. I'm just not. They weird me out. It's kind of like when the BOA first came out, it just stressed everyone was like, fuck that, I'm staying laces, but now it's been around long enough that it's kind of the norm.
It's nice, yeah.
So, I'm not saying I won't do it, but as of right now, I won't do it.
That's okay. I understand, Jody.
Let's switch gears here to another recent thing, a venture that you went on, which an adventure is exactly how I would articulate this event that you were a part of, natural selection. How did you feel about even getting invited? Maybe we'll start there.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to start. For me, I was definitely tripping. Like, I had left the national team. It's been, what, 3 years now that I like retired, I guess, or like just stopped being on the national team. And then I kind of made it a little goal of mine, was like, in 5 years, I would love to be in natural selection. That was just something that I made a goal for myself because I saw how rad it was, and I just think it's so good for snowboarding. And to get there in 3 years, I was a bit nervous, to be honest. I felt like I was like, is this too soon? Am I good enough? So I think the first 2 events were just more of like, I'm so stoked to be here and we'll see what happens. But I am looking forward to this season because now I feel like I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually capable. Like, I think I kind of surprised myself, especially in Alaska. I didn't think, I was so scared of being like, I've never done anything like this. And I'm in a helicopter with Travis Rice, Chris Rasman, I think Blake Paul was there. And I was just like, what, how is this happening? I think I was so caught up in like that I forgot. But I'm still happy with the way I rode. And I'm more excited this season because now I'm like not nervous. I'm actually pumped being like, okay, now I'm capable. Let's see what I can do. Rather than last year, I fully was like, if I make it down, I'm going to be stoked, you know?
Are you pretty good at like when you're clocking into something that is like kind of gnarly, or you're pushing yourself to be like, you got this?
Oh, yeah, for
because
sure.
Because I feel like you're riding whenever I mean, just binging your video parts before you came on here, there's just like a level of confidence when you're rolling to anything that it just like, that doesn't look like you're like, I don't know if I have this. It's like you roll up to the jump, like I can see your shoulders. I'm like, oh, he's going cab 9 and he knows he got this.
Yeah, for sure. I think my like mental state of like, sometimes I like play it down, but then in those moments, just, I think because I've been in like a contest environment my whole life, basically, since I think I started competing when I was like 8 years old in contests. And I do have the ability, I think, to maybe like, drop in and focus. Like, I visualize a ton. Like, that's something that I always do before and during, even when I'm sessioning a jump, I'll be visualizing, like, you know, even if it's like as easy as like visualizing landing and riding out of the feature before I'm dropping in.
Do you find that is kind of, most pros do that? Like, you hang out with, you ride with a lot of the best of the best. Do you think a lot of people use like, I need to visualize this,
for
and
sure.
if I can't,
I actually, it's funny you say that. My first year filming with Rents and Solars, I think like the next day I was gonna do, it was like that switchback 5 that I think is my first shot in, where like I grab around the knee.
The Kingstone movie?
Yeah, Kingstone movie.
Beautiful.
And I was like, do you guys visualize yourself doing this like before? And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, okay, sweet. Like, I'm not like I just was, because I feel like that world, at least in the contest world, is very clear of like, everyone had that kind of, I don't know, level of focus, but I didn't know if people did that in the backcountry. And then I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, watching the way people ride and being able to be confident of like, okay, this is that blind roll. I'm going to kick left and I'm going to pop over here, and just being like, I don't know. I find that so fascinating because it only comes better with time. Like, you're not going to just click into it. It's just like, you got to keep going and going and going.
It's crazy that as soon as you can like visualize something and you kind of get down the basics, where you can take that is crazy, because then you start visualizing things that are like next level. Like Travis,
totally.
What he's visualizing is just like, most of us can't even comprehend.
Totally.
You know, the thought process behind him breaking down a line. Like, I'm just like, how do I make it down?
Yeah.
Travis is like, you can gap from this to this.
Totally.
And if that did propagate and
He'll
pop,
be here,
I can traverse over. It's like, it is.
Yeah.
You're in the helicopter with Travis. Did you get to pick his brain a little bit or talk to him?
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit. Like, I was actually asking him about his boards and like how he decides to like ride each board, or not even how he like designs his boards. Because I found that interesting that at Revelstoke, he was like changing boards in between runs, and all of us were riding pretty much the same board. Like, I'd ride the board that I rode the week before film. Like, I didn't change my setup, but he'd be like from one run to the other, changing his board size or his shape, which was like, felt like a little bit more like surfing, you know, like you kind of had like an idea of like, oh, the snow is looking this way, I should probably change my board because it's going to float better or cut better through this. It's stuff that I don't have that expertise, and that'll only come with time, I feel like. I don't know.
Where I'm at with boards is that I like having the one board that you ride the vast majority of the time.
Yeah.
And then whenever you have those opportunities where you like see a little cool bump, you know how it how the board
you
feels.
know how it flexes and how it's going to pop.
And how it floats. And as soon as you pop off the lip, you're like, I knew it was going to pop like that.
Or the way it's going
to
send you into like over the nose or over the tail. Yeah, totally.
I think like for big pillow stacks, it really makes sense to have a shorter tail. Like if you're really into charging like deep pow and trying to find pillows, like having a shorter tail so it doesn't spring load you on the pillows, which I've noticed people with like mass twin tip boards kind of get
feel like
ejected.
You have that shorter tail, it actually allows you to do a bit more of this.
Yeah.
Like rudder, I guess. And when you have the longer, I find it drives your nose down and then you pick up speed. So you kind of, I'm going to definitely, we've been chatting with Burton and Ben. I know Ben and Mikkel want to try some different boards with shorter tails, like a bit more fish style, like kind of like the fish, but a little bit more tail than that. So it'd be exciting to try. Like we'll definitely get some boards made just to see, because I think it's not your everyday board, but I think when you're riding pillows like that, you need that to just go slower. So you don't put your nose down and like pick up crazy speed.
Yeah, I really like K2.
Yeah, I love that nerding out of like the like how like that expertise that Travis has and all those guys do, Mikkel, Ben, and everyone. But I think it was cool seeing his ability to like look at the terrain and pick a board based on that.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible.
I mean, if there's one person to be like, you're not just doing this for gimmicks or because the brand's telling you to ride that board, or you're just, it's like he has the whole, like the reason why I'm riding this board is because the foam is actually kind of more styrofoamy today and like a wider set board.
It's a little wind blown, so I need,
Yeah, he's the grand master. So.
Yeah, no, it was crazy being in that scene, I guess, like for me. Like watching Elena ride her run was just like, it was really amazing because it made me realize like what we're capable of, what I'm capable of. Like it changed, I think, the way that I look at the mountain now. Like after going back and filming, just being like, just having more confidence, I think, being like, I can do this.
I watched Elena and Zoe, and I mean, I was like, I got to step it up. Like that's all that came to my mind. I'm like, damn,
totally.
like
no, it showed that you're like,
they're good.
As snowboarders, it's amazing what you can do on a mountain.
Yeah.
Like even that back three, I was like, that shocked me. I was like, I'd seen that, like riding into it, being like coming in and coming around, being and going, I'm way higher above the snow than I had ever thought. Like, and going way faster than I ever thought I was going to go. But it was so fun. Like that, like I let out like a scream when I rode out of that run. I was like, that was it. I can see why people like love ride. It's like, and it's never going to be like, I don't know. I don't think I'm the type of rider that wants to ride like death defying. Like if this slides, you're going off 100-foot cliff or like that. I just want to be like feature based. Like, I don't know, like the way like Nicholas rides the mountain is the way that I think I like to look at it. Just riding across and finding like transitions within the slope and trying to, I don't know. I just think that's the most rad shit.
Limit your risk as much as possible, but so you can like stunt and freestyle.
Exactly, because I think that's the, I don't know, like the truest form of like excellence in snowboarding, in my opinion, is like if you can go do like a switchback 5 natty or anything like that, which is so hard on a jump. It's like, it's a lot of people can do it, but doing it off that weird little bump that you have no idea how your board's going to react to it, but you're able to pop a trick and land it and do it with style. That's where that fires me up more than anything.
I'll give that a 10 out of 10, Mike. I totally agree with you. Anything that is natural is my favorite thing to see right now, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when you're looking at something from the bottom. You're like, I'm just gonna whip a slash here, and then I'm gonna do a back 3, and then I'm gonna front 3, and then you're like, where's the slash? That okay? Do the slash,
and then you're like, I'm supposed to take off on that?
Back 3, you go twice as big as you thought. You're like, oh, that was way bigger than I thought. And then you go for the front 3, and then where the takeoff looked so nice from the bottom, it has like 3 different takeoffs, and it's all wobbly and wonky, and it's kind of sunbaked on top of it, and it's you piece all that together. That's some grandmaster shit right there.
Yeah, so dream come true there for sure. For like even from all the contests that I've done, like X Games or Do Tours, World Cups, that felt like I was like, wow, that felt more meaningful. For me personally.
Standing up at the top of that line, about to ride in front of all of your favorite snowboarders ever.
Of all time, yeah, for sure.
Being in Alaska,
I was like, went to the Art of Flight premiere in Toronto when I was like 13 or 14 years old, you know, and it's pretty crazy for me to be there now. But it's kind of hard because I got to think about it. I'm like, I'm supposed to be there, but I'm always like, oh, this is so cool, you know?
Would you say that you kind of visualized where you're at in snowboarding right now from a young age? Were you like, I'm going to make it every year? Did you tell yourself that, or?
I always wanted to be a professional snowboarder for sure. From like I go through my like notes in school and stuff, and it's like, what do you want to be? It was always that. And I definitely, yeah, I don't know. I just knew I'd be some sort of snowboarding, you know? But I think I've always had my ups and downs with it, where like when I quit the national team, I was worried that I couldn't keep it going. So then I was like, hey, I might be a coach. Like that was my backup plan, because then I'd still be in snowboarding, and I really enjoy that. But I'm glad that can save for later. Like maybe I'll still do that later on in my life, but I still feel like I'm like, yeah, I want to do this for as long as I can.
How much pressure do you put on yourself?
It depends. I'd say I do put quite a lot of pressure on myself, but I try to make it as fun as possible. Like realize that I'm doing my dream, you know? Like it's yeah, I don't want to ever have to feel like I'm out there for the wrong reasons, because then I feel like it's, what are you doing, you know? Like I get to snowboard as much as I want, and it's like, literally, I'm so lucky. It's crazy.
That you are, my friend.
Yeah.
There's definitely some people that are listening right now like, snowboard is much, what the fuck? Like that is insane.
No, it's not.
It's like
it's
the
really,
craziest.
It's really crazy.
But I will say, to play devil's advocate, just because why not?
Yeah, I like that.
Every job, it doesn't matter what job I've had, feels like a job. Like to some people, they're like, starting a snowboard podcast would be the coolest thing ever. All you do is watch videos and then you get ready. It's like, I have been the most stressed out I've ever been. And I've had this whole other problem solving shit that I've never thought I would have to be able to do. And it's just like, sometimes when you get your dream job, it's still a job.
Oh yeah.
So like you got to be like, it's almost like this, well, it's going to sound kind of cheesy, but you have to work on yourself to be happy before you even attempt to get your dream job. Because if you're not happy beforehand, when you get there, it's not going to make you happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing's going to make you happy than making yourself like happy like now. And then wherever you are, you should be able to be somebody that can like, when you're facing challenging times, hopefully you can just try and be the happiest person no matter what your job.
Yeah.
Because I've worked construction with people who I would say have the worst job ever, whether it's like, you know, doing a roof or whatever like that. And it's like, dude, roofing is tough fucking work. And it's like, some of those people are just whistling all day long. And then it's like, you go to the backcountry with
all
a
mindset, man.
photographer or filmer who hates their job. And it's like, do you know how many people would love to be snowmobiling today? Just shooting photos. But like,
totally.
It's kind of perspective.
Work on that a lot, because it is, you know that you got to be out there adding value to your sponsors and to yourself and knowing why you do it. But if you kind of get caught up in that side of things, I think you lose that's probably the reason why I stopped competing, because I was putting too much pressure on myself and I just wasn't enjoying it. Like when I'd ride contests, I'd probably, if I didn't land a run, I probably would have taken the hardest slam I've ever taken, and then being like, why am I doing this? Like I've eaten shit so many, like trying triple corks, knowing that I'm not going to get around, and just holding the grab, being like, please, just for like, and it's nuts, because I was just like being like, that's the only way I'm going to get on the podium is if I try this trick that in the back of my head, knowing that like, I'm like I did one at Do Tour where I literally did 2.5, landed, tried to do a cab 16 and landed on my stomach on the landing, holding my grab. Because I was like, please come around. But I think that was
that's fucked up, Mike.
Yeah,
that's fucked
for
up.
sure. Yeah, it was definitely not ideal, but I wanted it. I knew I had to do it, I guess. But then I got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't want this anymore. Like I'd always wanted to film in the backcountry, and I think I just needed to like cut it. Like I was like, I'm not gonna do some contests and film. I'm like, I just want to go all in to filming and just do that. So it's definitely a weird time. Like my mom was like, what are you doing? Like it was like the season before, I think the Olympics maybe. And I was like, I'm done. Called up Elliot, my coach, who was awesome. Like at the time, like he's been such a big impact on my life and in snowboarding. But I was like, yeah, I was trying to tell him that my ankle was hurt because I didn't want to go to Lax for the World Cup. And then I'm like, hey Elliot, I've been like, I lied to you. Like my ankle's fine. I'm like, I couldn't keep this thing going. I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna film. Like I got asked to film for King Snow. Like you can like take me off the team, kind of thing. And he completely got it. It was like, yeah, we're so happy with where you've gone and what you've done, and wish you all the best on your next adventure. But it was definitely weird because that was my thing for, I think I was on the national team, like on the development team, I think at 15, all the way until 23. So that's 8.
It's a long time.
That's a long time, yeah.
You were loyal to the contest scene.
I was, for sure.
Maybe we got a guest question here from a Patreon member.
Nice.
Mark McMorris.
Oh, I love that.
Just kidding. He's not a Patreon member. But you should be.
Come on, Mark. I'm a Patreon.
Mikey Ciccarelli over there is a Patreon member.
I'm a huge supporter of the show here.
And I appreciate it. Now that I'm like drowning in debt, it's like I really appreciate it. Look all this shit around me.
I'll keep you afloat. Let's get this going.
Okay, let's see if this cues up well.
Man, Mikey C. This is Mark McMorris here. I can vividly remember the very first time I saw you in New Zealand. I maybe was 16 at the time. You would have been 13 or 14. And I was just so impressed with the way you rode your board and how you just didn't have that little Grom style. You already had such proper stee, and your trick selection was incredible. I've always been a huge fan. Nicest guy in the league. So just wanted to say I love you, bud. And then a quick question for you. How did you go about your transition from competition snowboarding into backcountry filming? I thought you did it effortlessly and very seamlessly. So kudos to you, brother.
Oh, that's really nice. Love you too, Mark. You're a huge inspiration in my life to a lot of Canadian snowboarders all over the world.
Mick Mo all day.
All day. He's such a legend. I mean, I'll touch on all that, but I actually want to speak about that day in New Zealand. That's pretty special because my coach at the time, Sam Marcotte, asked Mark if he could come coach, like guest coach, it was me and Tyler Nicholson at the time. I think Garmin Broughton was with him. But it was really cool because he said, yeah, like I'll come in. Now that time Mark I think he's 16. He just had got on Burton and Red Bull. I think that season he won his first X Games. But I remember just being like, this is like the sickest day ever. And then after that day, I think I was trying back tens. But my whole thing was like, from a young age, Sam Marcotte taught me is like, he would make me watch video parts and be like, see this style? Like JP Solberg was like, watch him do a back seven, and we're doing it like that. It was really cool. Like I owe a lot of, I think, my style and the way I poke and stuff from Sam. Sorry to rant on that, but like that's just
I like where you took that.
Because it's
awesome.
like it's so funny. Like he'd be like, "You want to try a front seven? Make sure you grab." And I didn't land a lot of tricks as a kid. Like I wouldn't, but I'd always do it with good style and pop and grab, and someone would be like, "Oh, that was cool," but I wouldn't land very often. And then it finally clicked. I started landing, and then to touch on that day after. Mark was such a legend. He got me in touch with his agent, Ninja, who's my agent now and Mark's agent. And he helped me get on Burton, which was like changed my life for sure, which is pretty crazy. Like,
damn, Mick Mo batted for you and got you on Burton. That is dope. And you're still on Burton.
Yeah, that was...
He changed your life. You owe everything to Mark McMorris.
I mean, a lot. He changed. He made it possible for like.
And he fucking broke his ankle in the duels, and you got to go to Alaska and Revelstoke.
I know, it's crazy.
Mark just keeps on giving.
I love the McMorris family. They've been so rad. Craig as well. He's been a huge impact on my career. But yeah, it was nuts having someone like that vouch for me at a young age, which I think really changed my trajectory. I think if I didn't, it's hard. It's really hard to get in, riding at a rep level and trying to be like, how do I get the team manager to recognize me? And at that time, it's really tough. You need someone to like vouch for you. So thank you, Mark. You did a lot for me.
So how did you transition?
Yeah.
How did that go? Because it's like Mark said there, you did it seamlessly, which is a hard word to say apparently for me too. But
yeah.
like you did. You were contest Mikey C. And we'll kind of touch base on like maybe some of your, the whole contest world.
Yeah.
But just for the question at hand here from Mark, I just feel like that transition for everybody who is a fan or who's been following you, it's like you were a contest snowboarder, and then overnight it's like backcountry snowboarder who's out there with, the best of the best.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it was something I envisioned and knew that I wanted to do it. At one point, I was like, I'm going to stop competing in film. I just didn't know when.
Or how to do it, I'm imagining.
Yeah, I luckily like had that intuition, I guess, and I had bought a sled maybe 2017. I had purchased a sled and I'd go out with friends, like went out with like Bruce Johnson, like just anybody that would be down to take me out and learn, because I was so worried about when I got the call up, I didn't want to be a burden. And I still was. Like, it's a funny story. US Open 2020, the last Burton US Open, I didn't make finals, was super bummed.
How bummed?
Really sad, because I had been riding good. That was like a place that I had done well before. Super sad. But then I asked Zach Nigro, who's our team manager, like higher up at Burton, and I was like, hey, do you think I can film for One World? Because I was like, I have a truck, I have a sled. And he's like, yeah, the boys are in Blue River, like change your flight. So I left that, like right after qualifiers. I had not made it. I left, flew back to Whistler, and then I'm like Mickles calling me being like, hey, we're going to leave at 6:30 in the morning. And I was like, oh my God,
Have you ever filmed with Mickle before?
No, never. Like I'd never filmed with Mikey, Mark, Gabe was our filmer, and I was like,
oh damn.
I was so nervous. I was YouTubing sledding in Blue River, because I was like, what am I getting into? I had no idea. And at that time my sledding was like, I could go from like up a hill, I couldn't side hill or do anything, but I was like, I could.
And you're going with like 3 certified like boss sledders.
And they were so rad, man. Like there's a funny video that Mikey has of me like just trying to pin it through a tree, because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But they were rad. They showed me the ropes. And I think that trip for me, I was like more just anytime I'm out with those guys. And I think that's what I definitely, maybe it helped me with my transition. I'd ask a lot of questions. I'd be like, how are you guys doing this? And just watch their process, because so much of filming is the process. It's not like...
That's so smart of you.
It's not like...
To like observe and be like, I can learn a lot, even if it's not my turn to ride.
Yeah. A lot of the times it's like, I'm not capable of trying this, so I should probably just watch what they're doing, which was cool. So I think that definitely helped, like that moment of being like, hey, this is what I want to do, and buying the sled. And, I was taking avalanche courses before and just knew that I wanted to do it. So I was like, in the back of my mind, it was always there. And then it was just like, okay, let's go. And then Jesse and Crispin at King Snow, like they kind of like, we'd filmed that like Toyota thing early season for them, for their YouTube. And he's like, hey, we're making a movie for King Snow. Like, you should film for it. And I was like, oh, I should. Like, my gears were turning. I was like, maybe this is the time. But I'd be like, I had just left like a national team camp and being like, okay, well, I got a trip lined up for this. And then, yeah, it was just one of those moments where I just realized that I wasn't going to get any better in competing. And I kind of saw my results dwindling and feeling like if I'm I might get 9th or like 7th, and that's like a good result for me. And I'm like, that's not what I want to do. You know, like why take this time and do something I don't want to do, and being like, let's just bury into snowboarding and filming and see what happens. And I think it too, like One World was definitely a moment where I got 2 clips in that movie, and I got 2 clips in one day. So then in my little mind, I was like,
what are the clips? We want we talking clips here. Let's go.
So I did a front 7 on Hollywood, front 7 Mellon.
Damn, I remember that. Really
then,
good. Not as good as your front 5, but
no, I'll take the front 5 for sure. That's one of my favorites. And then I did a cab 9 on Perfect Jump.
Oh, that was also sick. Who did you hit that with?
That was when Red and Brock, and Red did that. He front ended, ode to Mikey Rents.
Front end Mellon, right?
Yeah. And
I wonder if he even knew Mikey.
No, we talked about it right after. I think
Okay.
I was like, I'm pretty sure Chris Duffy like cab 9 this 20 years ago.
Yeah, but Duff was off the toes.
That's true.
So a cab 9 off the toes,
kind of like
it's different.
I corked it a little differently. But that day of filming, I was like, whoa, like that was one day and I got 2 shots. It was really hard work. I'd never sledded out that far, but I really enjoyed it. Like I loved that we're out there together. Like so much of slopestyle was not myself. Like I'd be like my coach and us being like, this is the run. This is how you're going to make the finals. But when you're filming, I like that we're all building the jump together. I'm making sure Brock's getting the clip. I want Red to get the shot. They want me to get a clip. It just felt way more of like a camaraderie, which I'd never had really got, I felt like, in snowboarding.
I want to ask you, like,
I don't know if like you obviously feel like that. Like you guys at the McMorris, you guys are such a good crew.
Yeah, but I will say that when we all kind of started that whole project and that movement, it was like we were all older, and I feel like the vast majority of us were really close friends, minus Chris, who was kind of the black sheep who kind of came in, and Rusty and Matt were like, we vouch for him. Chris is amazing. And then we all met him, and he's the best. But like you're there with Brock and Red. You guys are all young. Mm-hmm. And it's like, was there any animosity, tension between, like, you guys are all-star players who, like, to me, you want to be the best to some extent. Mm-hmm. It's like, was there support? You said there's, like, support for everybody. You guys are so young. That's actually, like, really mature of you guys to, like, be rooting for each other.
Yeah, I never felt that. Never felt like
no weird vibes or
weird.
Shit.
No,
Nice.
like we all wanted to land stuff, you know. But yeah, I do appreciate that. Maybe it was the time I came into like filming that it was more about like the group you're with and how you guys work together. Maybe before it was more like, I need to get my shot today. I don't care what, you know, but now I really feel like it's a group effort.
And you must have been like fairly stressed out to tell your biggest sponsor and like your dream sponsor, Burton, that you're done the contest circuit. And like, if I was Burton, I'd be like, well, you're a contest rider, not a backcountry rider. And you're like, next year I'm not doing any contests and I'm going to film for the King Snow movie. You must have been like, I have to show up.
Yeah,
like,
that was probably the most stressed but most stoked I've been in my career, in the sense of it was COVID. Burton had given me a 6-month contract for the winter.
Oh damn, nice!
Yeah,
I like that they like put you on. They're like, all
they're
right,
like,
show
we'll,
up, or
we'll just
sink or swim.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I need to definitely make this happen. And Rockstar was awesome there, like for sure. Like Steve Mateus, who runs there, he's like, yeah, get it. It's filming's like he understood it. Which
Rockstar understood.
Yeah, they were
that's
like,
cool.
They no questions asked, which was really cool.
I mean, we drinking Monster over here, but whatever, you know.
But yeah, so I was like, I was like, oh crap, I have a 6-month contract. I kind of need to like step it up and make it happen. But it's so crazy. Like I wanted it so bad. And then like, I remember watching my full part with Emma on the couch, and I just was like crying, like fully crying. And then I cried at the King Snow premiere in Whistler here. Like all you guys there, people I've looked up to, like my peers. And I was like, I can't believe this happened. Like, I didn't believe it, but I'd done it. You know, it was like, it's such a weird thing. Because I'd watched so many videos and so many, like, things. And then I was like, wow, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining it the best, but if
No, you got like immersed into a whole new community. You were
Yeah.
part of the contest scene.
Totally.
And you got to see yourself on the big stage and see like what all of your peers have done. And
Yeah.
then your entire community shows up and
Yeah.
people are like, sick part.
Yeah.
Like, you've never had that experience. And you
Yeah.
and it wasn't like people, trust me, I filmed enough video parts where people are like, nice part, Jody. And you're like, no, it wasn't. Like when part for you was like a standout video part that put Mikey's
Thank you.
name in the mix with like, I'm here to hang. I could go on a trip with like Renzi or fucking Red Gerard or McMo and I can hang. And like, I'm imagining if I was your team manager, Zach, he watches that part and he's like, oh, like he can tell what that's a good snowboarder. It's like,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
There's a lot of banging clips in that. I mean, your cab 9 on that you and Miskimen boob to boob gap that clip was hot. Maybe
Yeah, that one felt real nice.
maybe we could quickly touch on that one. I'm just being selfish here because that one pops to mind.
Was Crispin had spotted it out. Me and Sean built it. I actually
Crispin. Oh yeah, Crispin
because
found
we
it.
called it Crispin's Cannon.
I don't feel like that's ever been hit before.
Which is crazy because it's really close to where you start snowboarding.
I mean,
yeah,
definitely like Sean Kearns or Lucas Huffman or Duffy or something like that. Probably like
they
front
probably
three did.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
were just
I
like
have just no idea.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was a fun one because I'd hit it the first day. I hit it by myself. It was because I can't remember why. Maybe it was the day
hitting jumps by yourself, Mike. Damn.
Yeah, and I just wanted to get it done, and I overshot the whole thing. I overshot the whole landing. I'd back 3'd it and just went to the flat. And then that cab 9 was with Sean when he did the switchback one. It actually took me a long time. I think it took me like 6 or 7 tries. But I was, because the landing's so flat, like you guys hit it this year, right? And I kept looping out, and it was one of those ones where you're just like, I got to commit to tomahawking or landing it. You know, like I had to be so over my front foot, which is like counterintuitive, but Mark Solers taught me that a lot. He's like,
what did he teach you?
Well, I think Devin taught Mark this, and then Mark taught me it of like, you have to, when you land in powder, you're not actually like landing back seat. You're landing 50-50 like square and letting like the board compress into the snow and let you land.
Yeah, Devin told me that when we were driving in the back of a van one time. He said, "You don't want no skier." He doesn't.
Yeah.
We were I remember this. We were listening to the game, and I was like, "Damn!" Sorry to steal the podcast here, Mikey.
No,
but
I love
this
this.
story's dope.
Yeah.
We're driving in the van. I had just got on DC at the time, and we're cruising around. And Devin puts on the game, and he's like, "I love the game." And I'm in my head, I'm like, "Why doesn't Devin use the game for a part? That would have been so sick." Anyways. He says something about like skier landings and how like you don't want to be you don't want to be wheeling out. He's like, you want to land bolts.
Yeah.
Like you want to land like both your bindings or for you Steppins or whatever you're riding over there. You want to land with both of them in the snow at the same time. And it's like you can see like the best of the best when they're coming around on their tricks. I mean, you do land bolts, but like I think of like John Jay when he stomps,
Yeah.
it's like both feet sink into the fucking snow like a
Mickle does it too.
Oh, yeah,
Mikey
Mickle.
does it too, right?
I mean, all the best.
All the best, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool that Mark kind of, I remember we hit the first day filming with Mark and Gabe, we hit the Hurley Road Gap.
You hit the Hurley Road Gap with Solers.
Yeah.
That's Mark's first time too, isn't it?
Yeah, and the funny
That's
story
dope.
with that is Mark on the way up forgot to put his oil cap on his sled, and we were chainsawing and then realized it was off, so I had to go back, which is very unlike Mark. Mark's like dialed always, like, you know.
You're just trying to throw Mark under the bus.
No.
Come
So
on.
this is the
Come on,
start of the story.
I'm kidding.
And then I go up with Gabe, and we're like, we'll meet you before we get off the trail. And Gabe points out the Hurley to me, and I'd never seen it in person. And then by the time Mark had come up, I had hiked up and was standing on top of it. And then that's like Mark made that little video on his Instagram where I'm like, should we hit this? And Mark was like, yeah, we'll do it. It took me, Mark landed front 3, I think, and he straight aired it first, legend. He's like, I'll go first. Like, I'll take one for the team, which is amazing because I was really scared. And then he front 3'd it, landed. I think that took me like 14 tries to cab 5 it.
Oh, you are the young kid that's just like, I'll keep throwing carcass into this thing.
And after the session, like Gabe and Mark were like, dude, like we were like just being like, when do we have to tell him to stop?
Yeah, I know.
Like my
That's
legs
tough.
were cramping when I'd walk up each hit, but I was just so focused. I'm like, this is my first year. I got it. Like, this is a shot. I'm gonna do this, and it just was like, had the belief, and then wrote it out like completely. It's like if it had like a land, it was probably like completely tracked.
Cab 5?
Yeah, off the toes.
That's kind of a funny story. It's like I hit my first step down that I hit was with Mark Sollers too.
No way.
And Mark didn't even hit the step down. He just helped me build it.
Yeah,
and
legend.
I was just, it probably took me 15 tries to get this Cab 5 too. And when I rode away from that, like I should have been tapped out too. And that's kind of the dance as a filmer you have to make. You have to read the scenario and be like, this is some young kid. He's being super keen right now. Do I tap him out? Do I not? And knowing when to do that and when not is really tough.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that feeling of like getting a clip like your first couple years in front of your peers, and like it's crazy to hear like you articulate how much you looked up to Mark, because it was the same thing for me. Like,
yeah,
I was out there and I was like, oh, Mark's the legend guy who's taking me out, who knows how to snowmobile and knows how to build stuff,
knows how to like just look at a feature and be like, yep.
Yeah,
same with Mikey. It's amazing their ability to like look at a feature before it's even made or before it's even hit and know if it's a clip. Like they're so good at thinking of the way it's already filmed before it's hit.
Do you know how many people work so hard to get a clip that does not translate and it's a waste of time? That is a pro ability to be like, this will translate on film if I do this. Or just going down and reviewing the footage and being like, there's no point of me trying for this clip too many times because it's just not going to look sick even if I do get it.
Yeah. I think I gotta, now, I mean, it's a long answered question of Mark's of like how I made it happen. I gotta owe it a lot to the people that I got to be out with.
Like they helped in the smooth transition.
Yeah, like without Mikey, Mark, and especially Gabe Langlois, like he's so good at filming and so good at making riders look amazing. Like we just connected right away, and yeah, I owe a lot, definitely. Like still, I'll never like. I definitely am like very grateful that they were willing to take me out and have a chance. And, you know, I was trying to be as respectful as I could, you know, always saying thank you and being just really appreciative of being out there with them, because I think I knew how lucky I was. And I'm like, this is not, it doesn't very happen. I feel like it doesn't happen very often where they're like, oh, new kid, come on. Like we trust you. We trust your safety abilities. We trust your, yeah, I thank you. Yeah, it's a big one for me.
Maybe we'll touch quickly before we transition out of the contest completely.
Yeah.
While you were doing it, who was like between male and female that were really like standing out? You were like, okay, I'm getting 9th and 7th, and you kind of clock in, which is super wise of you to be like, okay, this isn't.
Yeah, I just
like I pushed Mikey's scale to his. I'm getting bodied on triple corks, like I'm tapping out, and it's amazing that you pushed yourself to these limits that you did, because then you were able to bring those tricks to the back. Like when I look at like tricks like your cab 10 and your back 9s, it's like you extracted as much knowledge as you can from that field and brought it to the backcountry. Who are some males and females you're like, you don't have to tap out yet because you are incredible, and just where some of those riders maybe went?
Stale, Mark McMorris, Charles Gildemont was crushing at the time. Obviously, Seb Toots, Jamie Anderson, I think won every single contest there for a while. And then
she's insane.
Haley Langland was killing it, like still when I was kind of getting out of it. Julia Marino was really good as well.
Who are your favorites?
My favorites for sure on the female side was Jamie, just because it was crazy watching her. She would do her warm-up run, which could be her contest run, the first run of practice. Like it wasn't like it was hard for her. Like it was crazy. Like she'd just go and do a back 1, cab 5, front 7, first run through the course of the day. It was amazing.
Yeah,
like,
Jamie's such a boss.
And Mark and Seb for sure. Like I love, like Seb Toots was a huge.
How's the contest energy different from the backcountry energy? You touch on it, but like I feel like the mindset, how different are they?
Yeah, it's funny because like I did it so much and I think I forget a bit about it, but it like being at X Games, I remember being like
I guess what I'm
felt,
asking.
yeah, well, yeah. I guess say the question.
Sorry, to articulate that better is like, is what's running through your head at the top of a contest run the same as when you're on the top of a step down or a backcountry jump? Like, do you have that? Do you clock in the same way, or was it different?
I think I clock in the same for sure. It's like I'm the process of like visualizing it, getting my like breath settled before I drop in.
You do a breath thing?
Yeah, I try to just like good breath work. That's something that I've worked on. But in contests, I think it was really hard because you'd have so many features. Like in the mountains, maybe I'm like hitting one step down and then trying to like hit a natty hit after. So I'm really only thinking about 2 things. But riding like an X Games course, you had 4 rails and then you had 3 jumps. So you're trying to nail every single one of them.
You're talking to the wrong guy, man. I'm like the feature, like like the.
Yeah, so I think the
like U.S. Open slopestyle runs are so insane to me.
That yeah, for sure. So I think it was you could feel the pressure, like knowing like when I was definitely at events like the X Games, you just know, and I could tell like, you know, someone like Mark and Seb, they're like they want, like everyone wants it. Like it's very like we're all homies and very like I love the vibe up there. It never felt like we were like out to get each other, but it was definitely like I want to get this, you know, like we knew it was on the line, I guess.
And it's like you go down and you get 9th or 12th in a contest. That's the same as sledding down at the end of a day and not getting a clip.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the one thing that contest riders and filming people have like the exact same thing is that you want to be on the podium, which is like, you know, first, second, third, and then in the backcountry, that's like the third place is like you walked away with the cab 5.
Mm-hmm.
You
and
know,
kind of
the second place is you found something creative, or you got like a dope switchback 3 or something like that.
First place NBD.
And then you're doing some like that feeling of going into the shower after not succeeding at the day. Like it eats me alive. And I'm imagining there's a lot of contest riders who get down from the end of the run falling, and it's just like, oh
yeah. It definitely took a toll on me mentally for sure. Just because I just felt like I was like. I don't know. I think the big realization was when I was in Saas Fee. This was like the year before I was about to film for King Snow. I hadn't made that decision yet, but I was like trying to do a back 16. I think it took me all day, like the whole day, and I landed 1. And I was like, wow, like I did it. And then I'm seeing these younger kids and other riders do them first try, like, and I'm like, okay, I got it. It was like as hard as it was, because I still wanted it and I loved the contest world, I was just like, I'm not good enough.
Expectation versus reality.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not good enough to do it. And maybe I could have like pushed through, but I wasn't having fun. So I was like, there was no way for me to like override that, I think. And then I was like, man, now it's so funny. Like we talked about it, like, and you talked about that in Devin's podcast. It was so cool hearing him say, go ride the mountain more, like get out of the park. Any rider that wants to ride backcountry more, I have huge advice too, is like just go ride around the mountain. Like I've done it the last 3 years, and I've definitely seen a shift in my riding, because now I'm like, if I see a little bump and I somehow manage to do a back 5 off it, that'll translate to hitting a natty feature in the backcountry. But me going and doing a back 5 on a park jump, it doesn't. I just don't think it serves me now. Like the park riding, I still like doing it, like on a spring day, hitting a good park jump, but I just don't think it serves my riding as much.
No, I've noticed your approach. I think a lot of people have. It's just like you're cruising around the mountain.
Yeah.
And like you're so many switch tricks too, you know, like the front 5, the back 5, the cab 3s, like learning those on like micro features on the hill to be able to take those to the backcountry.
Yeah.
So then if you under rotate, you know how to save those tricks, especially on the switch rideaways.
Doing like a back one off a cat track into a little tracked out snow, and figuring out how to ride it out switch is like, I don't know, it's fun. I'm so happy that I made it, because I haven't had this much fun snowboarding for like I like love it. Like I'll go put headphones on and ride alone around Whistler, and then I'll like set up my camera and do like those selfie cams, because I'm almost mad at myself that I rode the park so much. I don't know.
That's a double-edged sword.
It is.
For sure.
It got to me where I am today for sure. But I'm like, wow, this is so fun. Like finding little, like you're talking, like finding those little hits and that like micro transition and nailing it and being like, oh, it's like, it's a different feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we can shoot this back to Alaska here at Natural Selection, just because you're up there. You've achieved so much. Maybe one of the most, or if not the most important figure in your life. I know how much your dad meant to you. Maybe just touch on your dad's passing, your relationship with him, and what it's like to be standing on top of an Alaskan mountain, riding a Natural Selection. And there must have been some sort of connection there, I'm imagining, with like your dad, when you must feel like, yeah, that must have been a trip.
100%.
I'm putting words in your mouth.
No, 100%. Like that was what really well said. Like my dad, and in our relationship, my career, everything, he was truly like my biggest fan. Like it was so special. Like he'd stay up and watch my YouTube videos, and like he loved it so much, and I miss him so fucking much. Like I love that guy. And yeah, just there's so many moments I feel like where I'm like I feel like he's there with me. Or I'm like, I'm doing this for you. I say that like when I'm doing something scary or like I really want to do it, I'm like, this is for you, John. Like I love you. Like it's like he would be so happy. Like it's hard to talk about because it sucked. Like he had cancer for 10 years and he knew he was going to pass away. And it was hard for me at a young age. He passed when I was 18, and I was just like, like he got his life cut short. Like he was like, I don't deserve this. And I'm like, yeah, you don't deserve it. Like it was weird for me to see that, like just watch him kind of just pass away, every year it kind of got worse. And I was like, but there was moments where he got to come with me on trips, and like he got to come here on Whistler with me. We did a showcase showdown, and he was like a hockey dad. He tried to go up into the judges tower because I didn't get on the podium. And I think Bryn got third, and he thought I should have got on the podium. And I was like, Dad, this is snowboarding. Like you don't, like it happens. Like, and he's like, no, my son, he killed it. Like he was that kind of dad, like filled the room. And yeah, I wish he could. I really wish he could see what I've done. And I know he's up there. He's watching me. Like even this year, I started writing his name again on my board, because then I'm just like, he's there with me. Just like simple reminders. And yeah, he if I have kids or when I have kids, it's like he definitely taught me how to like, prioritize your kids. He did it with my sister and brother. He was his hockey coach. He'd drive them to hockey, then drive me to the hill to snowboard. He would just nonstop. He just did everything for his family, which, yeah, I love that. I don't know.
Yeah, he's involved in your life. Which
so I think
amazing.
Those big moments, I'm like, it's sad because I'm like, I'm happy, but I'm also just being like, I wish that he could be here. And
I think there's something with like when people that you love so dearly, when they pass, there's a certain way that they lived their life, and so then I feel like you try to embody that to some level. So at least, they're looking down on you or whatever. Yeah. There's something about like just making that individual proud. Like my grandma and my grandfather were huge, like so important to me. It's actually insane to like even articulate it. And even like one of my friends who passed away, Fred, from our local hill, like I don't know what it is, but I bring him out to the backcountry with me. Every time I'm in a scary situation, I have that same relationship, and I'm imagining lots of people do. You get stressed out, and then there's the person that meant a lot to you that passed, and you like lean on them, and like
sure.
Like I write Fred's name on like
no way, yeah,
all my jumps. He has a sticker that my friend made. Yeah. It's on all of my boards, and it's like it's wild what I feel like I can overcome when we're like a team out there.
100%. There's so many times where I don't think I could have done what I've done without that feeling of my dad there, or wanting to be like I'm going to make, this is for you. Like fully being like, this is for him, not for me, you know, which was kind of interesting. And yeah, I think him investing in my career at a young, like, you know, snowboarding is expensive, and he worked so hard to make sure that I could keep doing it. You know, like I remember my parents being like, hey, you're not going to have a university fund, or like, the money's going now. Like we're going all in.
Cool perspective.
Yeah. Like, cause I was such a young age, and they're like obviously supporting me before I got sponsors. And yeah, like I remember one time, just a good Johnny C story is I had broken my leg at Mount St. Louis Moonstone, where I grew up riding, back 7, knuckled, twisted, like kind of broke like the bottom of my leg, like my tibia. And me and my dad were I was like so bummed. My dad was so bummed. I was going to Canadian Open, we're supposed to go in 2 weeks to Calgary. And I remember me and my dad were like, okay, we're not telling your mom you broke your leg. And I was like, okay. So I pretended that I had broken my leg. I tried to walk in front of my mom, and she's like, and it was a hairline fracture at the time. So it wasn't like my leg was like twisted.
Or in a cast.
In a cast. It was just wrapped. And I was in so much pain staying there being like, I'm fine. And my dad's like, you're good. You're good. And I'm like, and then we obviously go to the hospital, and they're like, your leg's broken. But it was like our, you know, team vibe, where he wanted it so much, I wanted it so much. And yeah, he'd be over the moon. Like my mom is a huge supporter she's so happy for what I'm doing. And yeah, I miss him so much. And I think I'm grateful that I had snowboarding through the time that he passed away, because I was 18. It was really challenging. Like it could have gone either way. Like I've seen friends that have had loss in their life, and they take it a different way, because it's you got to pour your energy into something. The shittiest thing that can happen to you, especially at that, I feel like at a young age, you're just like, I remember feeling like, how am I going to get past this? Like, how am I going to be a kid that doesn't have a dad? You know, I was like, really emotional, but as soon as I got onto my snowboard, it all made sense. And I was able to just like drive all that energy into snowboarding. Yeah, it was, it's heavy, man. I fucking cancer. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I think everybody who's listening to this right now can connect to that. Was there ever been like a moment during your snowboard journey where you really felt a connection to your dad? Like, is there one specifically you were like, well, he was really there for me that time?
Like one specific? I mean, that road gap time, like the Hurley, I was fully being like, I need you here, Dad. Like because I'm like hiking this thing, the landing's getting bombed out. I knew it was dwindling. You know, first year filming, I was like, I need you here. Let's like, please, like send me one. And then I landed it.
And he shows
up. And I'm like, and I do. And I have this weird thing, I don't know, to get deep with it, but whenever I'm really scared or about to do something gnarly in mountains, so many times there's been like a crow or a bird that comes around, and I swear to my dad, and like I fully be like, hey Dad, like I talk to it's really weird, but
no, it's not weird at all.
But
that's fucking beautiful.
I say, hey, thanks for being here, and it just settles me so much, and I can just be like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm good. I don't know. I'm a little, I guess not everyone might feel that weird, but that's just kind of,
I think everybody has their own way of, when it is like a parent or somebody that is like such a strong part of your life.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own way of like talking to them or communicating with them, or like living a life in, at least hopefully, even just this conversation, hopefully there's some people that are like, damn, like I could be living my life better because like, how would this person want me to be living my life? Like, do you think any parent is looking down happy that like you're spiraling and going down some rabbit hole that you shouldn't be? It's like, no.
But if you could change your perspective and believe that they are, like, I feel like my brother always like, oh, you're crazy. Like, but me and my mom were always like, that was our thing. Like, we're seeing these signs, and I think it's more of just like it copes and it gives you hope to be better. It's not like, sure, it's not exactly what's happening, but if you can believe that it is and have that, you know, self-belief that this is helping me,
do you think that
you're gonna be better off? I think.
Do you feel like the reason why you got so emotional at the King Snow premiere is just to see how far you've come and like to be like, Dad, I didn't make it in the contest world for you, but here I am, and I did something that I'm equally proud of, and like,
oh, for sure. I think that's why I've cried with Emma sitting on the couch, because I was like, if he could see this, I was just like, oh, it's really hard. I want him to see it. And I know he's there. But you're right. Yeah. Like that moment was so, it's when you devote your life to something. Like I've been snowboarding from 6 years old. I'm 27. So 21 years of my life have been just snowboard. Like it's all I know. It's all I do. And for moments like that, when it lines up like the natural selection thing where I'm like in this helicopter and just being like, I get really emotional. I love it so much that I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe it's, even having Mark McMorris call in and say that nice things about me. It's just, I'm like, wow, like that's crazy.
It also is just like, you want, like, I'm imagining that there would be nothing more meaningful than to share these experiences that are amongst the most important of your entire life with your dad. It's like there's nobody else that you have that relationship with, and clearly you're really close to your dad, that it's like there's nobody I would rather share the excitement I'm going through right now or the downsides of life than with you. And the fact that you're not there for this is just like like I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I know what it's like to lose a parent, but it's
everyone
like
has loss.
Everyone has loss, but I think that parents and children are special. Like it's just different. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to sit with somebody who's lost a child or their mom just passed and be like, I lost a friend. It's just like it, or not to say that friend can't be just as impactful or as important as a mom.
For sure,
But like I like to give people that space with that, because everyone who has lost somebody, it's like it's a unique experience to them.
Very unique.
It's very unique.
Everybody has.
So somebody could be like my second uncle passed, and you're like, oh, but who cares? But like to them, it's like you have no idea what my uncle was like to me, and to not have them in my life is like.
Yeah, I think another thing I do want to say for people that are going through loss is like, don't be afraid to, I don't know, talk about it with your friends or to people, because I started doing that, and then I'd meet someone that was like, oh, I lost my mom or I lost my dad, and I'm like, whoa, you seem like you're good. And they're like, yeah, like it fucking sucked, but we got through it. But like if you just keep it to yourself, then it's like you feel like you're going alone, but everyone's going through these problems, and it's like if you can open it up and find a partner or a friend that maybe have gone through a similar experience, and you guys can like work and help through that, like it's very important, I think.
Yeah, my fiance lost her dad really young at that like 16 years age, and just seeing how she deals with it and handles it is like, she's the first to bring it up at a party and stuff, and it's wild when somebody hasn't dealt with the grief yet. I feel like her talking to that person about it like helps them, because some people haven't made, like some people are bottlers and they're just like,
I'm not talking about
it, and then it does in a weird way without you even knowing, maybe like kind of eats away at you. It's way more healthy to communicate with other loved ones, like friends and family, about like a loss like that.
100%. Yeah, don't be afraid to have the chats, I think, is a big one.
Well, maybe switching gears a little bit. Kudos to your dad. What's his favorite beer again? I know he's
Bud Light guy.
Bud Light guy.
Yeah, I loved it. Okay. We had a Bud Light on his birthday there.
In the parking lot.
64, I think he would have been. No.
Well, cheers to him.
Yeah.
Maybe another project we can touch on, which I'm sure your dad would have been equally proud of you for being in, is Light, which was a short segment, but nonetheless an opportunity to film with somebody who I'm imagining has inspired you a lot over the years.
Totally.
Torstein.
I kind of blanked on that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. At that time, my contest career, he was like the god for sure. Torstein, like incredible. And that project Light, again, was like, wow, I can't believe I got to be there with Wernie Stock, Sick Rider, Ika, Jamie,
Ika,
who's just like another guy that I feel like if you can try to take a little bit of a page out of his book, like style-wise, it's like, holy shit, he's got it so dialed. But yeah, that was really fun. We got to go to Baldface. Charles Beckinsale built all these jumps, and then we kind of it was a bit like, maybe it's it was a weird scenario because people were like, oh, what, you're just getting a cat to build these jumps? But it was pretty cool. I was like blown away. We just snowshoot them out. We got to hit that big ass jump, and Jamie did the front 7. Ika got, I think, front 5, back 5. Wernie did the 6 switchback 1. I got a back 7 and a back 10 on it. And that was like my first, I think, proper backcountry jump. So that would have been, I guess that definitely, that moment, I think, probably tied into why, because that was in 2019. Yeah.
Was Light the same year as One World?
No, it was the year before.
No way.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but I'd only done, that was my one little trip. And then in between, I'd been sledding with buddies and friends and stuff in Whistler. But that was like the, first little taste of, I guess, filming in the mountains.
What was it like to work with Torstein?
He's incredible. So, his work ethic is insane. He's so dialed. He just like he's really good at having a vision and knowing what he wants, which I like being around that, because he's just clear and being like, this is what we're doing. We're going to hit this. We're going to get this shot. I want you to be filming from this angle. Like he's like making the project as it's happening. Like, if that makes sense. Like, he's so good at dialing everything in before.
I feel like he's got like a little bit of that Travis Rice in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where he can like, there's like 20 things that need to be dealt with, and he's good at prioritizing, like, well, this, to make everything run as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
Here are the tasks we have to do, and here's the sequence, like, in order of what we have to do, so we can get as much productivity out of this time, which is a gift.
Yes. Yeah. He's so good at maximizing on what's at hand and being like, I'm excited. We're going to do a project this year.
Ooh, you and Tor?
Yeah, with Rockstar.
You heard it here first.
but yeah, it'll be really cool. Yeah, I'm stoked. He's someone him and Mark, I feel like, and Jamie, like, I feel like for our era, they just put snowboarding, I think, on such a bigger scale, at least for my age group. It's incredible. So to be able to work with someone like Torstein, and I'm excited. He's the first, I feel like, first guy to be like, let's get FPV drones in here. And like that's like a whole new way to film snowboarding, and it's taken off. And he was like, saw that, years ago, and being like, let's start it.
Yeah.
I feel like he's very innovative in his thinking and riding, like the way he rides. He like, everything is so dialed and so technically sound, but you're like, it doesn't look hard. Like, watching him do triple corks is so sick in that time, because he did it with such good style. Like, we did that switchback 14 melon at X Games, and it was like so steezy. Grab held the whole time, his arm's not tucked under his leg. It's just like chilling. Like, he can do those tricks and the small tricks, but make everything look so good.
What I'm most impressed with Torstein is to see his contest big park jump approach move into the mountains and watch it completely not be the same.
Right?
He's just like half cabbing off stuff and doing like cool grabs, and like, he definitely took a note from, okay, I want to be the best snowboarder in the world in the contest world, but once I'm done with that, I'm going to have a whole new approach for the backcountry. And I think having a mentor like Ika, who he had spent some time with, to like learn how to like, and Devin, like, he was kind of in there when like Devin, the whole Devin, Laurie, Ika, Bittner, and I think he took like a note from that whole crew.
Kind of took a part of each rider, I felt like.
And then he brought it into the mountains, and I mean, his approach over the last 3-4 years, like, every time anything Torstein's dropping, I'm like, this is going to be amazing. He's probably going to backside ollie into this cool pillow field and then do a back 5 tie pan out of it. And you're like, what? How did you do? Like, obviously he hasn't done that yet, but I hope he does in your next project.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I can witness it. Yeah, he's so good at finding those little, like,
overlooked features.
Yeah, where you're like, oh, I didn't even think of, like, that little bump actually was like sick.
Totally.
And then that bump actually lined into this next feature.
Yeah.
He's good at.
He's a visionary.
He's incredible.
Okay, so One World was the year after Light. And so One World to me seems like maybe the biggest opportunity in a way, because you're a Burton rider, you have a chance and an opportunity to be in this project. You, like you said, you only had like 2 or 3 clips in that movie.
Yeah.
But what was it like to be around and immersed in a Burton movie with the whole passing of Jake Burton, and how like that did that tighten up the family element of Burton and the team, and like what was that like to be around?
Yeah, I think
that was an intense year to be a Burton rider, just because Jake Burton.
Yeah, Jake is, you know, one of the most influential people in snowboarding by far. I'm biased. I ride for Burton, but I don't think any of us would be where we are now without him and the way he believed in snowboarding to be a sport. So being a part of that crew and team, it definitely felt like I was like, we are a tight knit. Like the group.
Atmosphere must have been crazy.
It was like we are all together. Like it felt very like we're doing this for Jake. It's like not, you know, it's like outside of ourselves, I guess, if you think about it like that. And yeah, I just was like how grateful I am to be a part of a program and a team that has that camaraderie within them, you know, like I think people thrive on that. And I think Jake created a brand and culture that is like no other, you know, like you live and breathe it. It's not just that we're like on the team. It's like we all are for the company in a way, you know. I think it's like few companies can do that, create that culture and community where people really believe that each person within the company has an impact. And I think he did an incredible job at that. I loved seeing, well, I didn't love this. This is horrific, but like Mark gets injured, he hits that tree while he was filming in the backcountry, gets sent to YVR hospital because it's like he's got serious injuries, and Jake Burton flies in and like sees how his dog is doing. Like, yeah, you're an athlete and stuff like that, but you're also like a young kid that I actually care about, who is snowboarding and who's been injured. I just loved the like father-son relationship there that like he's built with so many athletes over the years. He do it with everybody. That was what I was amazed. Like we even had a small relationship because I was younger and I didn't get to be around him as much as someone like Mark or Mikey or Mikkel and stuff. But I remember I'd broken my pelvis and he knew that my second cousin, Dino Ciccarelli, played in the NHL, and he would text me. He's like, heard about the pelvis. Dino would have stayed on the ice. Like, you're good. Like fully being like just taking this shit, you know. And I was like, wow,
that is a dope text.
And I was like, wow, that's pretty special for him to take time out of his day and do that. You know, that made an impact on me. So yeah, I think the Carpenter families and like holding that culture and that like feeling of what Burton is so well, and we obviously miss him so much, and I think he's living through every snowboarder. Like I love the I ride for Jake and thank you Jake, like just that kind of stuff. And I feel like every it's cool to see other snowboard brands, you know, say thank you to him too, because it is. I feel like Burton did such a good job at creating snowboarding on a bigger scale for every brand. You know, they're doing stuff that is benefiting everybody. You know, as the sport grows, they grow, other brands grow, I think.
And you want to make, like, to some degree, if you're Donna and the rest of the family, you want to make him proud.
For sure.
And there was definitely seemed like an element of like Burton growth, like, okay, let's make some money, let's do this. They hit that out of the park, and it seemed like Jake like really took a step back in the last like couple years of his life and was really like involved in snowboarding for what I would say was like, not saying he was ever in it for the wrong reasons, but it just seems like he went back to like the most like holistic approach with snowboarding.
Yeah,
and I think
it was like the 100-day thing. He's just like, I'm getting 100 days
like
of riding.
He's just like, why did I fall in love with this whole thing to begin with? And so like trying to be a company to pass that torch and represent like what Jake fully feeling, embodied in the feeling is like, that's a big set of shoes to fill. And kudos to them, because I mean that's tough. You know, someone passes who was the whole brainchild of that company.
Yeah,
you don't want to taint that. You want it to feel the same, and like you got to make big calls for the company during COVID and everything we've gone through. And you're like, we don't want to change the look too much, but like we still need to grow. Like, would he have liked if we pushed step-ins too hard? Like,
no, he loves. So he step-ins, since you said that, he'd make you do 10 push-ups. At the time they were starting, he didn't like them being called step-ins. So they'd step. So if you said it, you do 10 push-ups. So you have to say step on. So.
I don't ride for Burton, man. I'm riding the K2 formula bindings.
I'm just messing with you.
What's your favorite thing about backcountry filming?
Yeah, I think I touched on that a little bit, but it's the process. I really love all of it. Like waking
the night
up,
before.
Like waking up, being like, where are we going? Oh, let's do a warm-up run. Oh, that kind of looks cool. Should we hit it? Oh, it worked. Sick. We got a shot. What else should we do? It's like, I don't know. I love that it's not so planned, and it's not like no one's out there being like, hey, dude, you have to hit this jump right now, and you have to do this trick. It's all on your own want, I guess. That's something I think I love the most about it, is where some days maybe I'm not feeling as much, and I'm just going to be like, I'm more of a teammate today, and we're going to get Mark a clip. Or let's get Mikey the clip, or whoever I'm out with. Let's get Ben the shot, because it's cool, because then I can attach to their day and still feel great about it, because we're working all to the same goal of like, if you get a shot, I get a shot, we're stoked. I don't like when it's like the best feeling is coming back to the truck and we all got shots. It's like the best feeling. I don't like when it's like one person. It's nice when the whole group works together and finds that flow. Which I never, I didn't get that in as much in slopestyle, because we're all competing against each other. Totally. But when I'm filming in the backcountry, we're all out there, one common goal, work together, have fun, get clips, and it's like, I love that. It's like the process. Like Mikey Rentz taught me that so much. He's like, love the process, love the shitty days, love getting stuck, enjoy the parking lot beer, like just enjoy all of it, because we're so lucky to do it. And if you're out there like stressing or being like, oh, I'm not, the whole day is gonna roll that way. I think you just gotta let it happen.
I was actually really proud of you with like you go to Revelstoke, you were against Blake Paul, correct? And your first run, I can only imagine what's going through your head. You go down a funnel and almost hit your face off a bunch of rocks.
I'm literally in a tiger trap. There's rocks on either side of me. I'm like, holy crap.
Like not even your fault. It's just like that just what happened.
Yeah.
And then your next run was pretty good. Your front three was sick. And then the double pillow drop, but then you take a couple ragdolls in that. And I see you that night. And like anybody, like, you're probably up there doing it a little bit for your dad. And you just I didn't show up. You didn't show up that day. It's not even like you didn't show up.
I just wasn't.
Like, I don't even think it was.
I think I just was.
I didn't think you were riding bad. I think that you
experienced. I think
experience
personally,
and a couple bad Well, here's the thing: it's like a couple bad bumps can throw you for a crazy ride for any rider. You know what I mean?
It's true.
You can't get the whole outline like 10 out of 10 dialed in your head.
It was funny after that though. My claim to fame was that I was like, Travis followed my line, and then he did the transfer that he did was what I envisioned, and it was cool watching him, because I was like, oh. You don't have to air into it. Like I thought I had to like air into that pillow, then get onto that stack, then go over the channel. And he kind of just was like, scrubbed his way into it. And I was like, sick. That right there was enough. That's all worth it. Now I'm like, oh, now I maybe learn something from there.
Well, yeah. The next day you were beating yourself up, but then the following day you were good. I saw you in the morning, and I said, how, like, because I knew that you were freaking out, that you're so upset with yourself, and it was like you were talking a bunch. You know what I mean? When you're just freaking out, and you were just, and I was like, oh no, Mikey is fucked up right now. Like he needs to go up into his room and just stare at the wall for a bit. You came back the next day, you reset, then you get invited to Alaska. You go to Alaska, you tee it off with that insane back three. And it's like, you screwed up the next one, but like maybe like a little bit too much of a spin into it.
Dug my toes a little
too
much.
All in all, did you pat yourself on the back for just getting to what? Yeah, like I hope so.
Yeah, I had a little moment of bumness, and then I was with Rasman there, and he was like, man, like this is really special. And I think I was like maybe bummed for like 3 minutes. And then
if you didn't do the back three and that sick ass front three and that dope double drop, then you could beat yourself up. But the fact that you showed up and at least showed the whole snowboard community that you are an exceptionally good snowboarder is like all you can do.
That was all I wanted. I was just like, if I can show that I'm like capable and enough to be here, then I'm like stoked. And I felt like I did. And now I'm like excited for another opportunity for sure. It was cool. Like, yeah. And then like after Alaska, I had fallen, didn't make it past Jared there. Same with Rasman, kind of, that was he got bumped out as well. And then we watched the ladies, Elena ride that incredible line. Like Haley had a sick run. And then we built that little like pat down. And this was in between the contests. And then it's like me, Ben Ferguson, Blake Paul, Haley was hitting it. And then some of like the SEAL team guys came and started hitting it. And it was really cool because had done such a crazy contest. And now we're just sessioning this little pat down. And Ben did a switchback 5. I did a switchback rodeo. And it was like, it was right back to what snowboarding is. Us just hiking a little feature and messing with around with our friends. Like Blake did a sick back rodeo 7. It was like really wholesome.
Oh yeah, I could see you guys we were judging on the ridge top there, and I could see you guys down in the gully
building.
And I saw you guys hitting that. I was like, damn, I want to be down there right now. We were just like up there in the shade, just like waiting for the next person to drop. And I was like, wow, that really embodied why we all bored.
Totally,
I mean?
Yeah. Like, it was like, for sure, this is like the grand spectacle, but it's like at the end of the day, it's just mad fun, and you got to remember that, I think.
What do you feel about filming with other riders other than just Burton athletes? I feel like I almost just wanted to say this on this podcast because in case Zach or anybody at Burton listens to it, I'm like, growing up, Burton riders always rode in like, standard and absinthe, and like they were pieced with different riders. I really like that you're going to do light with Torstein, and it's not just the Burton project.
Yeah, I'm excited to change it up a little bit.
I love seeing you guys in Alaska with like a whole different group too. Yeah. I was like, damn, like they've done so many consecutive Burton things together, and it's like I feel like so many people on Burton could there would be a good look for them part of different projects. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, and I wanted to plug that because I was like,
do you want someone to
I don't know. Like I want to see Ben Ferg beside like Nick
Sweden.
Baden and Austin Sweeten.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like that duo would be insane. Think about Ben and Austin riding together.
Yeah. I mean, his brother, I'll just give a quick plug.
Yeah,
Gabe Ferg.
Legend.
If you don't know who Gabe is, everybody, get to know the name.
Yeah.
That kid is amazing.
He's so fun to be around, too.
Yeah. He's
good human.
Who are some of your favorite backcountry riders right now? Let's maybe go down that wormhole.
Yeah. Favorite backcountry riders right now, I'm still Mikkel. He was...
Good pick.
He's my favorite snowboarder from such a young age and still is now. Like,
why? Why do you like Mikkel?
It's the way he does things. Everything is like, I don't know. There's like nuances to the way that he does certain things. It's even down to like the way he turns and the way he like throws the snow off his tail to like miss a white room. It's like he's so good at. I feel like he's so good at separating his upper body from his lower body, and just finding like, I don't know. That's true greatness. Like the way he rides. I'll admit I like study the way he rides because I'm like, he's incredible and he's so cool. We always have chats. He's like trying to teach me the way he visualized lines. Like that front 5 he did at natural selection to the half cab, and I think it didn't show that great. Of the half cab was over like a channel gap. Like it was,
our view was perfect for that.
There was
one.
a gap.
Yeah.
He landed that front 5, did a switch toe side turn, heel side turn, toe side turn into a half pipe wall, half cabbed over the channel gap. It was like I'd never seen anything that was so.
That was the best thing I've ever seen live.
100%.
I was like that.
It
that
was
will
crazy.
go to the grave with me as like one of the greatest things I've ever seen on a snowboard.
And from our angle, we couldn't see. We could see that channel gap, but we couldn't see what his takeoff was. And we're like, oh, where's he going? That's weird. Like, I don't think me and Ben were like, I don't think there's something over there. And then he just like, boom, front 5 Indy, pokes perfectly. The way he landed and then into a switch toe side turn, it's like what you dream of. Like, yeah,
the fact he did a front 5 at the top of the line, like he still had like how many more feet of vertical, like, and he does a front 5 into the line.
But even the switch toe side carve up the wall to do that
Well,
half
he did
cab.
3 switch turns that were as good as anyone's regular
because
turns.
he landed switch toe side, heel side, toe side into the. Yeah, so he's definitely an all-time favorite. I really like Austin Sweden. I like the way he just charges and rides really fast, and just seems like he's like full gas. Like the way he's like lands a back three out, like that kind of stuff. It's cool. It's like it's inspiring to watch the way he rips. Always loved John Jackson. He was really sick. I feel like he still is. I'm excited to see the new part from
Standard?
No, from it's TGR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Sorry, filmed by The Hatchet.
Filmed by yeah. So I'm excited to see that. Who else is a huge I love Razman fires me up. He's just like charges, like getting to be out there some days with him too. It's like he truly, I call it Razman eyes. It's like he looks for the biggest feature amongst the mountain. And I'm like, you want to go from there to there? It's like, it's also very inspiring. Travis,
I love
Travis
filming with
is
Razman. Yeah.
a legend. I'm excited to see Zoe be more in the mountains because I think she's like, I got to watch her ride this year. We filmed together and she's so talented on her snowboard. Like it's actually incredible. She's
one of the best snowboarders.
one of the
ever
best snowboard. Like her technique, the way she rides is like 10 out of 10. It's like Torstein. It's like Mark. It's like she's so solid. So I'm excited to watch her crack into like more line riding, or not like big lines, but just like freestyle. Because I watched her do like a natty back 5 this year, and she figured it out like second try, and I was like, oh shit, like it's on.
Yeah,
you know, she's gonna be really, really, really good. Oh yeah, drop that.
No worries.
Yeah, that's some of my favorites. I love Baden too. Baden charges.
Yeah.
Gabe, Ben Ferguson, absolute legend. He rides like the way I would like, oh, I wish I could charge like he does. He's so gunk, like he just goes.
Ben?
Ben, yeah.
Yeah, Ben is like, I like Ben's approach because I don't think I've ever seen anyone snowboard like Ben.
No, he's like,
it's literally embodies like, like a death metal song the whole way down. Like he's just like so strong, but he's also.
And then he gets into the air and he does like, this year we've hit this feature, he did like this front 7 nose, and it was like,
yeah,
I was like, oh my God, it was so sick. Yeah, he's also another. It's cool. Ben and I, like, I don't know. It's so cool that we get to film. We went to the Youth Olympics together when we were like, I was 15, he was 16.
Wait, there's a Youth Olympics?
Yeah,
what the hell is this?
So
I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, which is awesome. It was the Junior Olympics. So basically it was like people that were on the track to go to the Olympics. They started doing this Youth Olympics. And it was in Innsbruck, Austria. I was 15. Ben was 16. I got lucky and somehow won the slopestyle. So I got like a Youth Olympic gold medal thing.
No way.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And Ben won the halfpipe.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really cool. So that was such a... And then now that we get to film and ride together, we always like, every time we're like shooting the shit and like having some beers, we always like talk about how special it is that we came from there, and Ben had an insane halfpipe career, and then now he's like the top dog in backcountry. So it's just cool that we got to find our way back together, I guess, filming in the mountains.
There's definitely something to be said about going full gas into the park until you kind of start smacking your chest on back 16s like you did.
Yeah.
And then bring that, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm over with the park, and then take it into the backcountry. But man, I also think that like there's a beauty in a snowboarder who doesn't, like, I look at like Cannon Cummings, who's like just
who doesn't
really ride
the park. I totally
and his
agree.
approach and his style.
Yes.
Like, you don't necessarily need to ride the park.
No.
If you learn natty back 7s and you never get past a 7, but you're a full free rider mountain boarder, as long as you are inspired by the right individuals, because I feel like a lot of those individuals who don't ride park and just free ride, to me, like, I don't know, they look like they should have ice picks, and like their style sucks. It's like heinous. But there's a whole bunch of free riders who like look up to people with flow and style. like Gigi and Nicholas and Freddie or whatever,
I
and
think,
you're like, damn, like
Yeah.
they get it.
Like, I think you ride park, but then you don't make it like, I love watching Cannon's clips where I'm like, whoa, that was sick. And I feel like Austin, Sweden's very similar. Where,
Totally.
like, he can go charge a powder day on the mountain and do something that you're like, whoa, that was insane on track snow, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think it's something that's being said is like, you'll get, then when my whole theory why I stopped riding in the park as much, you know, was if I can go figure out how to ride down this face and make it look okay, it's going to be a lot easier when there's powder or when it's untracked, you know, like that's my mentality. And I kind of feel like those guys that just only ride the mountain, like everyone at like Brighton, it's like you can see they're getting better every day at riding natural hits, powder takeoffs, really short lips, really tight in runs, crazy landings. Like Blake is so light on his feet, I think too, because he rides like he's not always riding perfect snow, and he's learned how to like make like cushion everything, you know.
Totally.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, Blake Paul is so fucking light. Him and Arthur Longo are like
Arthur,
the two lightest foot. They also are light snowboarders,
Mhm.
like you. You're kind of in that club. You know, you're not super heavy.
Totally.
And it's like they've figured out a way to use their back foot / board
Their
as like
board, yeah.
suspension. And that's the reason why someone like Arthur can do a backside 7 as big as a park jump into a mogul field and be
or
fine.
a landing that is literally as long as his board. Like the landing is as long as his snowboard.
Yeah, I think that one is just a freak of nature talent.
Well, half-pipe rider.
Half-pipe rider.
Like,
I say that all the time on the podcast,
Yeah.
but like if I was a little kid, I would try to ride as much half-pipe. The best snowboarders in the world are all half-pipe riders.
yeah, I
Pretty
got
much.
lucky. I rode half-pipe from probably, like 8 years old. I was actually on the development team for half-pipe before I was for slopestyle. And then I switched over.
Oh, so you would have been better if you stayed half-pipe. Man, you would have been so good.
I kudos to the men and women that crushed that pipe, because when double cork started happening, I just was like, I'm not stepping to it. I was like, I was so, because I would deck a lot. Like my thing was like I could go big, do a couple 7s, maybe a front 9 and a back 9, but I couldn't get past that. And then I was like, if you try a cab double cork and go early, it's like the consequences to me are gnarly. But I did learn this spring. I learned a cab 10 in the half pipe.
What?
Yeah, at the Rockstar shoot in Tahoe. I was just like, I'm gonna learn this trick, and it clicked. And it's one trick I never did when I rode half pipe, and then I figured it out.
Sorry, I stopped listening because that was so annoying that you learned cab 10s the other day. That's amazing. Like, congratulations.
Thank you.
That is, an order. Like, I just never had the half pipe growing up in Manitoba, so I just never got to develop in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a skill set there that should not be overlooked.
Yeah, you learn how to use your edges. You learn how to use the flex of your snowboard, which I think all the best riders in the world know. Like, you watch Zoe pop off like a backside spin, and you watch her board like compress and flex and then pop. It's like, that's something you got like to another thing that I think people maybe don't know so much is like, use the pop of your snowboard. Like, the camber is designed to pop you. And if you can learn how to manipulate that, it's going to make your ollies better, your everything better.
And maybe on that note, we will drag this over to when were you the most sore you've ever been on a snowboard?
The most sore?
Yeah, like when were you just like absolutely bodied? You took a rag doll that made you sore for months.
I'm trying to think. I think I was more sore from the slams that I would take in the contest. Like
that's 16 to the chest.
I broke my pelvis on Kong.
Oh, okay. So on that
trying to do a back 14, under rotated, landed directly on my hip and like spiderweb my pelvis.
Okay, so since you have some sore bones in your body, our sponsor, our spa sponsor, the Scandinave, would like to give you a complimentary bath pass so you can work on your kinks before the season. Thanks to the Scandinave Spa Whistler for supporting the show. We love that place. Have you been before?
I love that place.
It's nice, eh? It's a nice place to be.
I've actually had times where it's like when I'm, want to do some visualization, you go there. Really can, because they got like the good music going, the quiet rooms. It's kind of a nice little vibe. Thank you. Is it more than one pass?
No, Mike, don't be selfish.
No,
Everyone gets one pass. Dude. Come on, buddy.
I didn't know.
Jesus, look at this kid. You've been hanging out with the Burton crew too long. Going to Revelstoke and seeing that McMansion you guys rent, it's like, damn.
Very, very lucky. That's awesome, though. Thank you.
Don't you guys have a chef that travels around with you guys?
Jason comes a couple times. Yeah. It is ridiculous, but it's cool that they're able to like support us in that way. It's very awesome. And he's such a good, like, I think you got to come over for dinner, right, and meet him.
Yeah, I did. I had some leftover nachos that were very good.
And was it pizza?
I don't know if I had pizza. I don't think so. I came by and everybody was kind of just like laying around on their phones. I'm like, man, these vibes suck. Thank God you were there. Then we said some jokes, and I think we went out to the bar that night in Revelstoke and had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just gave you some advice on why not to be so bummed that you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You fell into a ravine with rocks everywhere,
with hundreds
and you're like,
of thousands
I blew
of
it.
people
I'm
watching,
like, you know what, Mike? Yeah, you definitely blew
did,
it.
Yeah.
And I was so mad because I'm judging, and I obviously am rooting for you, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I do appreciate that honesty. I think it's so good. You need that where you're like, hey, bud, it's gonna be okay. Same with like Rasmus was like, you got like. Be happy, like you're stoked,
Oh man,
like,
that's your first one. Do you think you're gonna get invited back?
I am.
Mike? Oh,
I got invited back. Yeah,
Mike?
Yeah, so,
nice. Congrats, my dog.
Yeah, so I get another crack at it.
Who do you think should be invited that's not at natural selection?
Let's
hear some of your picks.
Bryn Alexander, I think, needs to be there.
100%.
I've talked to him about it, and I'm like, you'd be just the greatest. I'd like to see Arthur back there. I'd like to see Jake Blauvelt, which would be really cool. I
agree.
Kazu.
Yeah, if Kazu can come, I'm imagining they invite him every year, but he probably just isn't able to make it.
I think someone like that would do something great.
Any on the female side?
Female side? Yeah, I'd like to see Zoe. Obviously, she'll be there. Haley's going to be there. I'm trying to think. I'm excited to see, this is like more, maybe
further down the road.
Yeah, but like someone like Juliet, I think.
Yeah.
With her influence from her dad, I think she'll be there Juliet
in the time. And Billy are going to be sick.
Yeah, like that front end she just did in Australia. But I just think that'd be cool. I feel like, yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll take this to your latest project before I start asking you some questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Arc, you film with Danny Davis. You have an absolute heater of a part in that movie. We were just talking about the importance of riding Halfpipe. Danny, amongst the best Halfpipe riders ever. He's just one of those snowboarders. If you get the opportunity to watch him live, he is better in person than his video parts, where a lot of people are better in their video parts than they are live.
Yeah. I think his ability to tweak a snowboard and make it look beautiful is like no one tweaks like he does.
I wonder if Danny's going to ride the step-ons because I don't want to do 10 push-ups, Jake.
Yeah, he's awesome. That was really also another, I felt like, milestone in my career that he wanted me to film for the project that he was making.
Yeah, that was the biggest pat on the back ever.
Yeah, it was
when
crazy.
I heard you were in that, I was like, Mikey's in the Danny Davis movie? Like, what the hell? And then you're at Peace Park with all, I was like, oh, my homie did it.
Yeah, a lot of times where I'm like, holy crap. And that was cool. That was another, like, I had just filmed King Snow and kind of learned a lot, and I felt like there was stuff that I wanted to do, and I changed my tricks a little bit, like just even like one-offs, like that back rodeo 7 that I did on, I think it's in Seagram's there. Like that trick was one of those ones that I was like, I just visualized so much, and I didn't think, I'd never done it in the park. It wasn't a trick that I did, and then I got it, and I was like, oh. And then the Cab 12, that I actually want to speak about that Cab 12 because of the session was crazy. I hit that jump with Mark McMorris. I went first. I think I won the Rochambeau and went first. Tried a front 10, kind of revert, and I was like, all right, like I think I'm gonna get that front 10. That'd be sick. Mark drops in first try, does a front side triple cork 1440, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy is the best snowboarder in the world. Like, just showed it right there. So then I was like, I wasn't planning on doing that Cab 12 because I just hadn't thought about doing, and I was like, oh, I need to like try to like, so that my clip stands up with his clips on this jump. And then I ended up landing that one first try. Which
you could have went opposite approach and done like switchback 1 or something like that.
No, I was like, I really want to try to like, it was cool. Like he definitely pushed me to get there, which I loved. And then Mark went on to do switchback rodeo, switchback 9, switchback 10. And just watching him crush that jump was a really cool moment. It was just like watching him just like, he was in a flow state, 100%, just so locked in.
Oh, Mark is, seems like him and Travis and like Jamie, like the best, like if you're at natural selection, you are one of the best snowboarders in the world, and you are. But then there's those people who
That
are
are
like just
Mm-hmm.
that tier above, and like being around them and riding with them. Do you feel like your riding has gotten so much better just from being like riding with Danny Davis and Ben Ferguson and Mark? Like, I even feel like, yeah, you were an exceptionally good snowboarder 3-4 years ago, but to see where you've developed to, I'm like, damn.
Thank you. Yeah, I truly, like I said, I think I owe so much of my success to the people around me that I just got to be around.
You're the average of your 5 best snowboarder buddies, and clearly,
yeah, exactly. But yeah, though, just like I was saying, it's like watching them do their work, like do their craft, like how they do it and the way they talk about it and think about it. I've just learned so much, and they're so good at it. It's nuts. Like even Mark, like seeing him in those great moments in contests, like at X Games, watching him just like pop into this like hyper focused state, and then him doing that in the mountains, like that jump session. I was just like, wow, this is, I take something from that. Like that cab 12, I don't think I would have done it if it wasn't for Mark doing that front 14. It got me like to push myself.
The hurdles that Mark has had to overcome are insane. Like the
Dude.
homie got like every body.
Man, he's broke his I was there when he broke his femur.
He overcomes everything.
In LA, and like he on and off snow. He's just a legend in that sense of just his like ability to just get back up there and do it again. So that whole part was awesome. Yeah, I got the ender of Arc, which was crazy. Blown away. Another moment of like, holy shit. But it was something that I really wanted, and I
did you say that to yourself going into the like, I want to close this fucking movie?
I
open it.
I wanted to get opener ender.
Nice.
That was my goal.
I don't think I've ever had that goal, and it shows.
I don't know. I for some weird reason, I think my snowboarding career is always, I felt like I've had to prove myself. I still feel like I'm trying to prove myself.
The minute that doesn't motivate you anymore, hang up the towel.
Yeah, because it's what pushes me.
What pushes everybody.
Totally. As soon as like I have that drive, because I feel like I'm like striving to be amongst the greatest, and I'm like, okay, like it's not there yet, which I think is good. Like you're saying, like if I haven't stayed stagnant, because I've always been like wanting to get to a certain goal. So I do like admire that I have that. I think I got that from my dad. My dad was an extremely hard worker, had his own business, just put his head down and just got shit done. And obviously snowboarding, we're very lucky. It's a little different, but there is moments where you got to make it happen.
Well, the last thing that you want as a rider that's invited to natural selection is to have like imposter syndrome, to be like, I don't deserve to be here. And then you don't show up. It's like, I'm imagining that
I was close
first
to
run.
that. I feel like I was close to that.
That's the reason why it probably got so far into your head. You're like,
for sure.
You're like, whoa, I'm here. Like, should I be here? And you're like, of course I should be here. Like, I'm good. And then your first run, you kind of like get smoked, and you're like, I just know myself personally and how I would have handled that. Whoo,
it was tough.
That would have been. Hence why I couldn't do the contest thing to begin with.
Yeah,
you know,
you have to like, I don't know.
That clocking is crazy.
The self-talk, you have to have this like belief of like, you know, because we all have that voice inside your head being like, dude, you suck, or like, you don't got this. Like, what are you doing?
You're your worst critic, no doubt. Everyone is.
I think that's what killed me in contest snowboarding, because I got to the point where I was so focused on what everyone else was doing. I'd be in practice and just being like watching everybody else is running. I remember Elliot, my coach, being like, dude, stop. Like, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And I'd just be like, well, this person's doing this trick on this rail. What I hadn't even done that yet. And I got so heavy into like, at that point, it wasn't even what I'm doing. I'm just focusing on what other people are doing. It's like the worst way to go about doing things, because then you lose what you're doing. And
it's the least like
it's there's no benefit to it.
It's the worst approach to have in snowboarding.
But it's so easy. It's easy to do that in all life, comparing yourself to others. But the second you can be like, hey, I can do this. I'm capable. I'm here for a reason. And I think at Revelstoke, I was on the verge. I was teeter-tottering, being like, how the fuck am I here? You know? But now I'm excited for this winter because I realize I am capable and I am supposed to be there. I believe that now.
Yeah.
But then I don't think I did. I don't know. That was definitely my mental.
There's no way that you would have slipped through the cracks to be invited to an event like Natural Selection. Like the panel there that's, you're going through the filter. I'm imagining at the end is the Travis Rice filter. And then you're going through like, Liam and Pat Bridges and people who understand and can see the talent you would have to go into an event like that. And I think they've done a really good job of, like, when you were picked, I was like, damn, that's big. And I was like, I even was like kind of like I wasn't nervous for the duels or the Revelstoke spot, but AK.
Yeah.
And having gone out there years previous with Mikey, Mikkel, and Sollers definitely ended up paying off, because like just doing those fun runs with them and actually getting to ride and like seeing what Slough does and stuff like that instead of just hitting booters.
Totally.
You got some free ride experience, and you can see that in your top turns before you even get to the 3.
Yeah, where I do those big sweeping turns.
Yeah, like the night before, you get the drone shots and you're going over your line. I'm imagining you have a pit in your stomach. You're like, I think that's my line, but if I go left, I die.
Yeah, and then what was crazy for me is I had never ridden something that long.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how am I, like, Mikko was like sick. He's like, dude, like, he'll like count his turns in between like stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, how do I look at
and be like, there's roughly 15 turns I'll have to do.
Or there's 4 or 5 sweeping turns before I hit this next feature. And then it's like so many things where I'm like, yeah, you learn so much. But I do got to say though, that drone footage that they provide us is pretty game changing, because when I rode into that line, it was like, blind, and then I saw everything that I'd seen. Obviously, it looked different, like it grew or shrunk or stuff changed. But I was like, I like let out a relief. I was like, oh, I'm good.
I'm on my line.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
Because I think without that, I think it's actually incredible hearing the stories of people taking like a Polaroid or like a digital camera out of a helicopter and looking. It blows my mind.
Oh yeah, and you're taking a photo during the day. It's
trust.
Like, that'd be exposed. It'd be so like Jamie Lynn sitting there and at the top of a line.
So incredible. Like you have to be so confident in your abilities that yeah. We're lots of rant on Natural Selection, but I think it was a big moment for me. So
yeah. Where do you want to take your snowboarding next? What's inspiring you these days? Because I don't feel like any snowboarder, or at least I don't feel like any snowboarder should just remain in the same lane. I think it's really nice. I mean, when you watch your favorite like snowboard and skate parts over the year, it's nice to see the rider kind of adapt with the times and continue to grow. So like where does Mikey want to take snowboarding like over the next coming years?
It's a great question. I think just first off, and in the simplest terms, is just I've always been very emphasis on style, and if I can translate my riding to make it look beautiful and effortless on gnarly features, that's my major goal for sure. Like just making everything look really nice and like pleasing to the eye.
Check mark. Correct answer.
Correct answer. And then, yeah, I have dream tricks where like if I can do some of the tricks that I've done in the slope style or on park jumps off something that's natural, that would be like, like if there's ever a chance to do like a natural back 10 off a feature. Like I know that's like, I think Stale's done one before. I'm sure someone maybe, but yeah, stuff like that. Jake Blavout did the front 10 in naturally, which was really sick off that windlip. Just, I feel like that I don't want to I have these tricks that I've done so much in the park and off park or backcountry booters. I'm like, if I could learn how to do that on a natural. Like I would, even simplest thing is like if I could do a cab 5 off of a like front one into something and then ride into a line and then do a cab 5 would be like the dream.
So more and more natty features.
More natty features, but still jumps. Like there's still tricks that I want to get off, but I think bringing those tricks to natural features, finding like, I don't know, flow throughout the mountain.
Good answer. All right, this is a new section of the podcast I came up with this morning.
This morning? Is it fresh off
This is fresh. I just came up with it because I was like, this
Damn, Jody.
It kind of is like when I say blank, what, and then you say
what
something.
Comes to
like
mind?
what comes to mind.
Okay.
So when I say like, you know, like birthday cake, and then, you know, whatever comes to mind, you're like, oh, I like Dairy Queen birthday cakes. But okay, so we're going to start it off with when I say method, what do you say?
Terrier.
Okay, nice.
I think I visualized Terrier's method right away.
Okay. When I say, maybe I won't say when I say the whole time. I feel like that'll get annoying. So
I do like this. This is fun.
Okay, 180.
180. Mickle.
Nice. Which one?
I just rewatched In Color, and he does a back one on that jump. Really sick.
360.
Mark Solers.
Oh, cool. And if you have a specific one that is in your head,
I mean, I just watched him do a beautiful one in Chile off that road gap.
All right, 540.
Oh, Mikey Rent's back 5s.
Oh, Mikey does.
His ability to land switch is like no other. Like his cab 7s, his back, he's done back 9s, and like I feel like that too. Mickle has it, Mark can land, but that is really hard.
It's wild to see like when you see like you, Red Gerard, Brock, and like Ben Ferg and Mark McMorris all riding together. It's like you're gonna be like if you are good enough to be invited into that crew, eventually you will be the average of that crew. Like I look at Mikey when he got brought in, he was like riding with like Ika, Arrow, Benji, whatever, that whole crew, and like UC, and like Mikey just
build. Yeah,
he did like 3 years in a row with like some of the biggest, like cab 7, massive, back 5.
His 13 part,
his 13 part
was
insane.
Wild. I always ask him about that because he did 3 double corks, and in my mind, I'm like, I would hit for me to learn back 10s or switch back 10s or these tricks on. I just hit a jump over and over, over and over. I'm like, did you try this? He's like, no. I just rode off the jump and did it. And I'm like, it doesn't compute because in my like contest brain, I'm like, oh, how many reps did you, like, how many times did you try it? And he's like, no, I just tried it. He's like, talking to him about the cab double 10 he does, I think in 13. He's like,
on junk hump?
Yeah. And he was just like, yeah, I just knew it was going to be like a back cork 5 off the end. And then he just like did it. I was like,
breaking it down.
So sick.
Your back 9 on junk hump was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
That was a good trick for that thing.
I was hyped that it landed and I didn't do this or anything.
No, stomp. Good toe edge catch.
Yeah, you need it.
Yeah.
But you bring the ragdoll into play pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, that would be for you, that would be a vicious one.
Douche.
720.
720. I'm thinking about a Chris Rasmus front 7 tail for some reason.
Okay. 900.
Oh, 900. Just because I watched JP Solberg a lot, he had sick cab 9 melons.
1080.
I'm going to say him again. That back 10 he does on that, I don't know the jump, but it's super 6 step down. I think it's helicopter filmed, and he like barely opens his front shoulder, holds the grab the whole time.
In the
that might be the best.
Back 10 double. It's not even doubly, it's just like back 10.
It might be the best back 10 ever.
Yeah, I think so too.
Done.
I think a lot of people who saw that back 10 still remember that being the best back 10. Okay, best mega spin over a 1080.
Mega spin. Marcus Cleveland, he's so good at spinning like a top and making it look friggin' sick.
All right, hip.
Ooh, Arthur or Kazu, I think of for sure.
I thought you were going to say Charles Reed.
Oh, yeah. Charles Reed, back rodeo 7s, legend.
There was like a group of those people that were just insane back then.
I wish that one shot in, I think it's Standing Sideways, where Charles does the double Michael Chuck and clips Aaron Leyland on the deck. I think that's it. Yeah, he like tries it, and I wish he got that one, like the double Michael Chuck high Indy.
Quarter pipe.
Quarter pipe Terrier.
Halfpipe.
Halfpipe, Danny Davis. I'd say for sure. His ability to make it look mellow.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Rail.
Tommy Gesme.
Good picks there.
Tommy G, yeah. Maybe I need to film. I don't know. It's funny, my rail riding career really just stopped as soon as I stopped riding contests, but I do love watching it.
You still touch the steel in the park all day.
I try. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try. It's fun. On a nice spring day when it's slushy and an edge catch won't ruin you, I'm in.
All right, let's get into what's your setup these days? Let's get into the specifics because there's a lot of snowboard nerds out there that might want to know what you're kind of repping these days.
So last 2 years, I've been riding the Hometown Hero 160.
160? How tall are you and what's your weight?
I'm 5'9", maybe 5'10". I weigh 155 pounds.
Okay, so you like a big board.
Yeah, and I think I just was like out of the park. I was like, I want to have something that when I look down, there's a good solid foundation underneath my feet. I pushed the stance up pretty much all the way on the EST system so that I think I have like a 2-inch setback, so it's almost twin, but it's still got the taper and everything, so I still like ride it directional, but you can land switch and ride switch with that board. Cartel, X bindings, and then Ion boots. I like a stiffer boot, but I have this thing where I need to make sure those boots are like super worked in. Like, so they have good ankle feel and like good support, but like we're talking about the tweakability. I feel like you need soft boots.
That is true. Tweakability is important. And you tweak.
It's the funnest thing ever. Yeah, it's so much fun. And then I'm riding AK kit, top to bottom. I've been kind of running, like I did in ARC, I had the full peach kit.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I was running like the powder mint. It's kind of fun to do.
Are you going to do that again? Do you have a color picked out this year? Color palette?
For some reason, I'm blanking on the color that I have, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be similar to like one tone top to bottom.
Cool.
It's kind of fun. I think at first I was a little skeptical, especially that orange suit, but then watching the footage, it pops so well in the mountains, especially with like the blue base and everything. That board's fun.
All right, we're going to get through 10 questions here. All right. Number 1, this is a big one. Biggest local legend to you?
To me, local legend, Mikey Rents.
Yeah, good pick.
You know, he's been doing it. He's been a pro snowboarder since he was 13.
Yeah,
and he just loves snowboarding. Yeah.
Who's the biggest local legend on mountain?
Ooh, still riding? I'd say Andre or Jay Wexler.
Oh,
those guys are. I think Jay is like into his maybe 51 now.
I think he's 50, turning 51.
Yeah, he turned 50, and he is riding that park more than anybody.
Yeah, talk about mindset, because there's definitely an older group of people who listen to this podcast between like, late 20s to like 50. I'm imagining is probably the primary audience here, and this homie is like going 50 plus on us,
and it's not like he's cruising. He's doing switchback 9s, front 9s, like.
Homie has done all the 10s, I feel like.
Yeah, but within like the last year, he's still doing these tricks, and he rides the jumps
and
when
rails.
It's flat light. It's not like it has to be good conditions. I'm inspired by and Robin Taylor, like those guys. They're just they're local heroes for the Whistler Park for sure.
All right, one trick that you want to learn.
What I really want to learn, a double backside rodeo 10.
You can't do that? Dude, Rasman can do that, and he's like 80. Come on.
Just gnarly trick. It's really gnarly.
Rasman lands on his back a lot on that one. Not to like, I'm not throwing him under the bus here. It's just like if the jump's too poppy, it's like, oof.
The one he did on, what is that, Step Up into like Not Powder?
Oh, yeah, an Alterna movie? That was
crazy.
Psycho.
Yeah, that's a trick. That's a dream trick for sure.
Who is the best pop in snowboarding?
Pay2 Peronin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing that coming.
For sure. He pops harder than anybody.
Who's the most underrated?
Most underrated, for sure. Like we talked about Bryn, I think.
Yeah, we should talk about Bryn all day. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I just think his he already has that. I feel like that ability to read mountains and like do tricks that are like really unique, like in doing shit natural. I think it's like
Switchback rodeo on a downhill takeoff.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, he's a legend.
All right, best style currently and back in the day.
Best currently, Mikkel. I'm sorry. He's a super fan. Back in the day, JP Solberg.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. JP Solberg.
I just felt like he spun flat, had really good tweaks. DCP too had really good style. I feel
Love
still
DCP
ripping,
switchback fives.
but like those super straight takeoff, pop, poke at the top, let it roll into the landing. I try to do my switchback fives like that now.
DCP, I was watching an old video. He does a switchback five. I believe it's in Japan. I screen recorded it on my phone and then edited it, made it full frame, and then frame by framed it probably a million times.
For sure.
I'm like, this is exactly how I want my switchback fives to look. I'm like, this one is perfect.
See, I love that though, because it's like, I think it's okay. Like some people, oh, don't copy style, but I'm like, I think you got to take influence from other people's riding.
I think that it's
because everybody's different. Like you're gonna try to do it a certain way, but your body's gonna make it. It's not gonna look the same. I don't know.
No,
what do you think about that?
No, I totally agree. I mean, like you get influenced by different things each year. Like sometimes it might be like, I'm really into surfing and that's inspiring to me right now, and I want to surf the mountain. And sometimes you're like, I've been watching a lot of skateboard, and I want to bomb hills, and like rip this fucking mountain apart. And it's like, sometimes you're like, I just want to work on having a really cool access on my 720.
Or just a heel side turn because
Totally.
you're watching Craig Kelly a bunch. You know, it's like
just stay out of your head you don't want to copy somebody, like their whole kit and presence and style and everything like that. Once you get past a certain age, then it's like, just be yourself, but you can be influenced by riders.
Totally.
But like being just a carbon copy of somebody is just kind of like, you know, like once you get to a certain age, just be yourself.
Just ride the way you want to ride. Yeah.
Favorite street boarder.
Favorite street boarder. Just thinking about, I'd say Louis.
Good pick. What makes him your favorite street boarder?
I like the way he rides, like natural speed. It makes it look like it's kind of like on a mountain, you know. Jake Kuzik, another one. He just filmed that crazy clip in Dorothy, the back three on the triangle thing.
The way he catches that 50 and then
it's
he
like
goes
fully 90. Like I wish there was almost another angle of it to show how.
Well, he has to thread the needle.
It's
The
crazy.
right away in like 8 feet is between a goal post and two metal posts.
That is like, some serious skill.
I was juiced on that clip too. One brand you fuck with that you don't ride for.
One brand that I don't ride for that I think I'd say like LibTech. And cool. I just feel like they too are like snowboarder owned, driven, and they just live and breathe it. So yeah.
Cool. What keeps you awake at night?
Keeps me awake at night. Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes I'm like, what happens when this ends? I'm so in it. And my whole thing is snowboarding. And for sure, I'm trying to think about it. Like I was saying, the coaching and stuff. Cause I'm like, yeah, it stresses me out a little bit. I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky to do it. I just want to do it for as long as I can.
I mean, what would be a perfect, what do you think is a realistic age that like you're 27? And what do you want to be?
Like if I could get to like still being a pro at like 35.
Belzil's 41.
Yeah. And then maybe go back to school, get some business stuff and work for Burton or a company that, I don't know. I think I know I'm going to stay within snowboarding, whether it be with coaching or within a brand, just because it's all I know. And I rather use my expertise I've learned in this and keep doing it, you know?
What makes you like coaching? You've mentioned it a couple times.
Yeah,
I've coached with you before.
Yeah, we've done Momentum. I guess it's because I've never my whole snowboarding career was always about myself and my progression. It was fun to attach it to somebody else's and seeing like there's this girl Lyra, I taught her how to do a backflip 2 seasons ago, and it was like such a big moment for her, and it was really cool that I got to be there for it and show, and like now I'm like, she's gonna snowboard forever, and like that feeling that she got It's the same feeling like I got. And it was cool to share that.
That shared experience when somebody just goes from even when you're just out filming with somebody,
Yeah.
and Red's like, I don't really do Cap 9 nose grabs, and then
I'm
he
like,
gets it.
yeah.
Like, that feeling is like infinite. It's just like, it's
awesome.
constantly amazing to see somebody do something that's out of their comfort zone and then achieve it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, it motivates everybody.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got your degree that you studied for 6 years and you did that. I don't care about your degree, but the fact that you achieved that is
And,
amazing.
yeah, you put your head down, you grind it, and you made it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Who would your hall pass be?
My hall pass?
Yeah.
Would it be the girl that played, what's her name? Margot Robbie, the Barbie?
Nice. No way. Have you told Emma this?
Emma knows.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Who's
her-
Emma's hall
Justin
pass?
Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
No questions asked. She'd be in a heartbeat. I'd be gone.
She's got the Bieber fever. All right. Who's the GOAT?
Mark McMorris.
Love it.
He's definitely the GOAT.
What makes him the GOAT to you? Let's get on a little tangent here.
Okay. First off,
I don't think Mark's the GOAT. You're wrong. Okay, and go.
Go. I feel like his snowboarding, he's done such an incredible job at like being at the forefront of like these tricks. You know, like he was the first guy to do some of these big tricks, first guy to do a back triple, first guy to bring into the back 16. Then he gets to switch back 16, and like he was on top of his game for so long and still is. And then like him being able to bring that into the mountains, and now what he's doing for snowboarding, you know, like giving back in Saskatchewan, making sure like the local hill there has a train park and supporting like Craig and Mark's foundation. I just think that like in a whole, it's really cool like what he's done and what he's continuing to do within snowboarding. You know, it's not like he's like got his fix and he's out. He's a snowboarder tried and true, but on such a huge scale.
Yeah, such a different approach than Shaun White. Like I'm not trying to like take a big shot at Shaun.
But if you compare it, like, yeah, it's like Mark staying in it. He wants to give back.
It's a more respectable approach.
Totally.
By a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there maybe let's shout outs. Maybe let's do some shout outs here, because
Yeah.
I feel like maybe whoever comes to the top of your mind, I feel like it's never
it's really
a one-man show.
No, not at all. I owe a lot of things to a lot of people. I'm very fortunate to be in this position and very stoked to keep it going. My mom and dad, obviously, for believing in me in a young age and sacrificing their finances to make it happen. You know, like I really know that it wouldn't have happened without them. So thank you to them. Emma, my girlfriend, big supporter of mine. Everyone at Burton Snowboards, Pat, Zach, Marcus. It's a good family that we have there. And Rockstar for supporting me through all my ups and downs, getting hurt. And, you know, one season I broke my pelvis and then I ruptured my kidney and my spleen and I didn't ride all season and I stayed on, you know, stuff like that. People within Whistler that like, there's like this guy named Dan who took me out sledding at the very early on and showed me how to snowmobile.
That's huge.
You know, and then obviously through all of like Mikey, Mark, Gabe, Mikkel, Ben, all these guys for taking me out and trusting my abilities. Got to shout out Sean Miskiman. I love that kid, and it's cool to see him kind of go through the same scenario that I have, and we're always like working together to make that happen. Jeremy Walken, a guy that I work with in the gym, he's big. Chris Bertram, he's a flow coach, and he's helped me a lot on my mindset and mental side of things. Who else am I?
What advice do you have for somebody on mindset? What's like this coach maybe in a
like,
nutshell, what has he taught you? Because that could be a nice takeaway for people to leave the episode on.
Yeah, it's the one that really resonates with me is like if you're in a place that you're like, oh, just take in your surroundings. Sometimes it's like people tend to look down and then their shoulders are closed and your breathing starts to get shitty. It's like look up sometimes. Like don't be afraid to look up. It'll just kind of helps change your perspective a little bit, I think.
That was fucking dope. You took that. That was way cool. I had no faith in you. I was like, this is going to be some shitty advice to all my listeners. And that was a fucking heater.
Thanks.
Look up. I feel like I kind of do the same. You're slouched over your phone. You're trained.
Yeah, if you can pull in your eyes and just like.
And if you're single and if you're trying to get somebody, it's like that immediately shows off some level of confidence, and it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that would be one. That's a huge one. Shout out Chris for teaching me that.
You got any pet peeves?
Pet peeves.
It's like straight up pet peeves snowboarding. Things that like people like. What irritates you about other people snowboarding?
No, I mean just in the simplest one is like when someone makes an excuse not to come ride. I'm like, dude, let's just go snowboarding and like see what it's like. I don't know. I'm like, I love it so much. I'm like, I have like feel like some days I go ride by myself because I don't want to bring someone with me and feel like they didn't have a good day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
those are the best days though. If it's like kind of shitty out, and then instead of like, okay, it's kind of lift line snow.
Totally.
And lift line snow, to those that don't know, is in between the freezing levels,
Super
so it's kind of
catchy.
catchy.
Yeah.
But if you go slow enough and you're with somebody, you're like, yo, like let's just do a back disaster on this quarter pipe
Totally.
thing, and then like,
yeah,
you can immediately have fun. That's my favorite thing about snowboarding is all the different dance floors. You know, you got like groomers, you got powder, you got
the
hard
little
pack.
micro side hits, you got the big side hits, you got the moguls. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can. There's a lot of different terrain that works based on the conditions.
totally, and little things.
Except for solid ice.
Yes,
And you could just do
long. I am not crazy. I don't like riding. Ice. I'm like,
yeah, because
no
it's just like it's just
it's not enjoyable.
it's
I
no
think.
longer even grabby. It's
Yeah.
just like it's a different element that's not made
Unless
for
you
snowboarding.
go and sharpen the shit out of your edges and just go rip turns.
I
then-
still disagree. It's just like a weird. You wear a helmet too, so maybe we can touch on that. So sometimes I see you wearing a helmet. Sometimes I see you not wearing a helmet.
Yes.
Both sometimes are on gnarly things. So what's this dance you're playing with the helmet here?
So I just was always watched video parts and was like, I personally think the tricks look better without a helmet a little bit, but I think after natural selection, watching Travis hit his head off that rock,
That was insane.
and then
I
he
almost
gets up
died
and then
on the other side of
wins
the
the
ridge.
contest. I was just like, I'm just gonna, we are in the mountains. We have our avalanche safety. We're in beacons. We got our probes. We got our shovels. We got our inReach. We're mitigating risks, looking at snow conditions, and the helmet is just another safety thing. I think it's like it adds to you're helping the risk to go down a little bit. So I'm gonna actually just ride a helmet now from now on.
Do you feel like
Again, in Chile, I rode a helmet the whole time. The end of the season last year, after natural selection, when I filmed, I rode a helmet for the rest of the season. Slushy days when I'm like riding on the park or like ripping around, I'll like not wear a helmet.
slushy days when you're riding the park?
But it's different because I'm not like around trees and stuff like, you know what I mean?
But if you're hitting a step down and it's like like Razman one time
No,
told me that like,
I do agree with
he's
the
like the mouth guard will be more beneficial than a helmet if you're going into a pocket that is known to have no rocks.
totally.
But like once you're kind of doing ollies in the trees and stuff like that, or if you're riding a line, or if
Yeah.
there's exposure below you. I mean, obviously there's people that are just like, you're an idiot, you should wear one all the time.
I just think it's easier to wear it all the time. I don't know. I feel like maybe too I was like at the beginning I'm like, I just know it's more legit not to wear a helmet, and was like want to like, but now I feel secured in myself, and I'm like, if someone doesn't like my clip because I'm wearing a helmet, I'm like, whatever,
Do you feel like
that's
do you think Burton will give you a hard time for that, or do you think Burton's going to be chill with that?
No, I think that's promoting, like, at the end of the day, like, it's promoting safety.
And they sell helmets.
And they sell helmets. Yeah. So yeah, I will. I'm gonna make an effort to try to wear a helmet more.
I like that. It is
because I didn't for arc and light king snow. I didn't wear a helmet.
It is one of the weirdest things that
It is. It's super strange.
It's just because that we idolized surfing, and then skateboarding came from that, and then snowboarding came from skateboarding and surfing, and it's just like it's not embedded in the culture.
No,
just because people weren't wearing helmets back then, and now it's just like this weird fucking thing that it's like, why aren't we wearing them?
Yeah,
it is like there is no real argument, but sometimes I mean I like whenever I wear a helmet, I feel I feel like there's a placebo effect or something that's like, I'm wearing a helmet, therefore I'm going to hit my head.
Yeah.
It's more in my, you know what I mean? And then it gets me thinking too much.
It's different for me though, because
I don't know.
I was a Grom, had to wear a helmet, rode a helmet throughout my whole contest career. And then it was funny because I'm like, oh, I'm falling apart. Take the helmet off. and then now I'm just realizing that I think it's a smart thing. Like I said, like it's another add to being safer. I think
totally.
I'm not saying you have to wear a helmet. I'm just that's just.
Man, I'm an old adult male. I can make I have grown past my parents.
Yeah.
I am out of the house.
You're getting married.
I'm making educated decisions now that I have a full grown brain and I'm past the age of 24. And now that my brain is fully developed, I'm making decisions on my own. And this is a good topic. I don't know. I don't know how I feel, but I need to go see a therapist.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, let's make that happen, Jody.
Mikey, thank you so much for setting aside some time for coming on the show. Thank you for being a Patreon member. Thanks for inspiring me. I hope in the next couple of years we can go out there and go film together. I feel like we would have a good time doing that. And I hope that we can play more golf together. And just, you're the fucking best, dude. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited for your future.
Thank you.
As somebody who just loves consuming snowboarding and quality snowboarding, it's kind of nice that you're going to be that benchmark, the next one for like some of the best video parts. And I feel like there's no pressure, but like, film some of the best video parts ever.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate it. And I'd like to say that this is awesome. I feel like what you're doing here with your podcast is just going to grow snowboarding and the culture and community. So thank you for doing it.
It's a win-win, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Take care, everybody. Have a great...
Thank you.
Yeah, get prepped for the season.
Yeah, it's going to come quick.
Stretch it out. All right. Peace.